Well, the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct certainly has made a splash. For some, it's not landing in the most positive light. So I wanted to give you my thoughts on the good, the bad, and the unknown. Now, be sure to check out my latest upload about the Switch 2 Direct and how it proves that exclusives still matter. That's on the channel right now. It's a short video. It's only like 5 or 6 minutes, but I really kind of walk through the structure of the event. A lot of the false narratives out there about how exclusives are anti-consumer or the industry is just moving away from them, and I think the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct really proves that false. So check out that video sometime today if you get a chance. And if you want to support the channel directly, make sure you're subscribed with the bell button set to all. Consider becoming a member. That's how I do this full time. And make sure you pick Member Plus so you don't miss any of the content. So let's just start with the good. Let's just jump right in. And I got to say, Mario Kart is one of the front and center items here. Now, there is a lot of consternation about the price. We'll get to that discussion in just a moment. But the graphics, the fidelity, the lighting, we're seeing hands-on right now with the Treehouse event. I watched that in Morning Coffee with my members. Another great reason to be a member. I had to shift my schedule around today because we had some tornadoes in the area last night. So was a late night, didn't get to sleep until about 2, so I had to push back my entire morning. So instead of co-streaming Treehouse, I watched it with my members. That's a great reason to support the channel. When stuff like that gets shifted around, the members usually do not get the short end. They get the extra content. And everything I saw with Mario Kart during the Treehouse event just looks incredible. This is exclusive to the Switch 2. That was a prediction that I got correct. I told people that I thought Nintendo was going to leverage this piece of property to get people to buy the Nintendo Switch 2. The last Mario Kart, the previous Mario Kart, it sold like 70-something million copies, and so I really thought this was going to be the time that they were going to make you jump. Now, they did say launching exclusively on the Switch 2. There could be a future date where a Mario Kart World, like a light version or something, hits the Nintendo Switch 1, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that, as this is one of the front and center announcements that they have made. It is also one of the first games we have seen priced at $80 digital, $90 physical. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Right now, we're just talking about all the good things, right? And Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom getting their graphical bump as well as a bump in frame rate, the lighting, the shadows, the resolution. It really serves this art style very, very well. I saw a tweet of somebody just sort of holding the Switch 2, playing Tears of the Kingdom, and it looked like it was getting 60 FPS on the handheld. So when it's docked, I'm really hoping this game can get consistent 60 FPS. They do quite a bit with the rain. They do quite a bit with like overlaying whenever you're using like a magnet or something. So I really am hoping they've been able to kind of push this game to do that. They also kind of showcase right here the faster load times. My main issue with Tears of the Kingdom, I did beat Breath of the Wild. It was back when I was still able to somewhat tolerate a 30 FPS game, but I had to put Tears of the Kingdom down, which kind of broke my heart because I know it's a great game. It's huge. It's massive. I love the world of Zelda. So this certainly was one of the things that were in the good camp for me because I was hoping that they were going to speak specifically to that. Another one that was a pleasant surprise is Donkey Kong Bananza. This just looks like a wonderful, fresh approach to Donkey Kong. Graphics and performance, again, getting a lot of praise here from people who are watching it. The animations, particle effects, everything kind of breaking and busting. This is another one that they showed off some of the gameplay at the Treehouse event that we watched in Morning Coffee, and I thought it just looked really, really good. This, I think, is the sign that you're going to see a continued push from Nintendo to leverage their first party, to leverage stuff that is just theirs, to leverage exclusives. And he is looking like the Donkey Kong from the movies. I thought with how much of a focus he got in the Super Mario Brothers movie, I was like, he's probably going to get a video game, especially when he showed up in the one Mario Kart trailer, as he looks like he does in the movie. So expect a new Mario game, I think. There's rumors about one coming holiday. And that's I'm gonna address that in the unknown section of this, because there's the good, there's the bad, and there is the unknown. And I'm very, very excited to see Donkey Kong get front and center treatment. He's been around for a long time, so put some respect on his name. Now, when it comes to Metroid, there's been some disagreement about how the game looks. Digital Foundry was very impressed with this game. They think it looks very, very good. The art style is one of the things they had a lot of praise for. What I'm most excited about with Metroid Prime 4, as they showed during the showcase, it didn't get a front and center showcase or treatment like this. This is actually from the Direct a week ago, but it is going to have a quality mode when you have the thing docked. a quality mode that will run at 4K 60. This sort of dispels the notion that there's no 4K output on the device. They are obviously upscaling. Pretty much every game right now running 4K is upscaling unless you have a very, very beefy rig. Even people with really strong PCs like to use upscaling because it gets you a lot of headroom for other things as well as just consistency in the frame rate. And this is going to be doing 4K 60 in its quality mode. Its performance mode will be running at like 1080 120, I think is what it was. Now when you undock it, it'll run at 1080 60 in quality mode, which is still really impressive. This game also will let you use the mouse function of the Joy-Cons, which I'm anxious to see if they're going to have actual Nintendo branded mice so that it's more comfortable. It doesn't look very comfortable to use the Joy-Con mouse function for long periods of time. I could see doing it in like a mini game like Mario Party, but for long periods of time aiming in a game like this, I could see people even 3D printing a dock for it. Like, you know how you slide them down on the more comfortable controller? I could see them making one where you slide the Joy-Con into something that literally looks like a mouse, so you don't have to buy an extra controller. Nintendo could probably do that as well. I was really pleased to see this as part of the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, and really, I think this continues to show. I have another video on the channel from a while ago where I basically said, listen, Nintendo is growing up. I thought this was going to be a far more serious handheld. I thought it was going to be positioned as a more serious handheld, and it does seem to be doing just that. If you guys are watching in the live environment, make sure you are smashing the like button. It helps us out. Kirby Air Riders was another one that showed up. I'm going to skip the lengthy section here and kind of get to the goods. I think this looks great. It's a successor to Kirby, the Air Ride, and you guys are getting an ad in the show open. I apologize. That's my fault. I forgot to turn that off again. I've got to make that a part of my flow. I do apologize. Kirby Air Riders. I think it looks great. It's a successor to Kirby Air Ride from the GameCube era, and it is going to be directed by the same guy, which really excited a lot of people. I'm not really a huge fan of like more racing games, like Mario Kart pretty much suffices it, but my kids were absolutely excited when they saw this. They love Kirby, and they're looking forward to Kirby Air Ride. Now, there are Switch 2 editions of some other games that are going to have extra content, and one of them is Kirby. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is going to be getting a Switch 2 edition with enhanced performance, better graphics, and even extra content. And that's something that people were very, very excited about, because that is something that people were, kind of wondering, are you going to be allowing us to play old games? Are they going to look better? Are they going to perform better? Where they're going back and they're adding content, they're adding features. So there is Star-Crossed World in addition to Kirby and the Forgotten Land getting a bump in performance. There's also Mario Party Jamboree, which will feature brand new functions with the mouse function of the Joy-Con or the camera if you're playing with friends who are not in your house, right? If you're playing with your friends over multiplayer. So there are Switch 2 editions of games in addition to the Zelda one, and I think that's pretty exciting. And I think the big surprise for a lot of people was it's an exclusive that I don't think anybody anticipated. The Duskbloods, which is a FromSoft game, and very Elden Ring, very Bloodborne, right? There's a lot of influence from FromSoft here, which is pretty obvious. Now, this is a pretty big win for Nintendo because FromSoft has a pretty big global appeal now after the insane success of Elden Ring, all right? Now, this doesn't interest me because it's a multiplayer PvPvE game, and I have zero interest in those types of games. So what I'm about to say has nothing to do with my interest in this game, but I do not think this is going to be a permanent exclusive. FromSoft has global draw now, and this really signals Elden Ring and Bloodborne. I could see this being a 6-month exclusive, maybe 12-month. It's not coming out until 2026. I think they're going to keep it quiet that it's a timed exclusive so they can use this to market the Switch 2. This game alone will get people to buy a Switch 2. They're going to want to play the latest FromSoft game. I will warn you, Elden Ring is one of the games featured in the Direct, one of the like 40-plus third-party games that was shown, and it's running at like 1080-30. So I'm really not sure if fans of FromSoft games, if fans of Elden Ring, if fans of Bloodborne are going to be too keen on playing a game at 1080-30 in 2026 when it lands. So again, I have a gut feeling this is only going to be about a 6-month exclusive. They are, again, going to keep that a secret. That'll obviously be pretty annoying to people who feel like they bought the Switch 2 for this, and then they're going to find out that they didn't have to. But if this ends up being a permanent exclusive, I will be surprised. I'm not saying that because I want to play it. It's just my instinct on it. Now, lastly, there were other things I thought that were good, that worth celebrating. Again, the 4K output's exciting to see. The dock has a cooling fan in it. It has an Ethernet port, and they did focus on better performance and graphics. That's what I wanted to see from Nintendo. That's what I told people Nintendo was going to do. I said, I don't think this is just going to be like, oh, it's bigger and has new games. I felt like they were growing up. I felt like the original trailer for the Switch 2 had like that Apple iPhone commercial feel, like a very, very sort of wanting to broaden their reach and appeal to maybe consumers that skipped out on the Switch 1. So that's all the good. Now let's talk about the bad. I think the first thing to me that really landed flat was the C button letdown. It really seemed like it was going to be a cool feature where you could, like, they were people saying you could connect an old Switch. That could then be your controller and a second screen. I can see now why that wouldn't work, because of how the Joy-Con functionality is different now and has different things that it can do. Maybe that would cause some compatibility issues. But the chat function, to me, and the screen sharing, this wasn't that impressive. This is probably the part of the Direct I feel like that really landed like a dud. It was also way too long. I think if you're going to do an hour-long Direct, dedicating this much time and energy into something that just isn't, to me, a big seller of the device. Like, hey, you can talk with other people. Okay, we've been doing that since the 360 era, but it also came at a time, in the Direct with the camera. I think the camera is going to have all kinds of potential problems. If you can jump into like multiplayer games, Digital Foundry kind of joked about that. Like, is Nintendo going to be, very much policing that so that you don't have to like see something that you don't want to see? This will obviously be something maybe just limited to your friends list only. I thought the camera function did seem kind of fun, little cute, little charming for games like Mario Party. But again, this is probably the biggest part of the Direct that I thought was a dud. I think they appropriated way too much time, or allotted way too much time for it, because I don't think it was that impressive. Now, the next thing that is a bit of a downer, and people aren't really sure about this. Now, I did get some insight into this from John Linneman at Digital Foundry. I watched their video and I thought, oh, this might not be as bad as everybody's making it out to be, okay? There are physical games that aren't physical games, okay? They're calling them game key cards. These are going to be like designated on the jewel case. You're not going to get tricked. But you're going to go to the store, you're going to buy a Switch 2 game, and sometimes it's literally going to tell you that it is a key card, meaning the game is not on the disc. It's just like a license to download it. Now, their website indicates that the disc has to be in every time you're going to play, which Linneman saw this as a positive, meaning you could then sell this to somebody, give it to somebody, or lend it, or take it in and trade it in. Because seemingly it's not a one-time use code. It's something that has to go in every time, that enables the download and then enables the game to play. Now, before you get upset, John Linneman's input on this that I thought was very helpful. A lot of games were doing that with the Nintendo Switch 1, and it would be a jewel case, and it would tell you there was no disc inside. It was a piece of paper with a code on it. And this, he said, is very helpful to smaller developers to get into retail. Being in retail with Nintendo is a really, really good thing for your game. Nintendo does a very good job with presence in retail. If you've ever been into a Target or a GameStop or something like that, they have their own little section. They've got an actual, they have not left this era behind. They'll have a Switch right there for you to touch and play. Okay, so he said that's actually really helpful to the smaller developers to get their games in retail. I hope that is the case, and this is something that you see on a rare occasion, and we're not like seeing this for like mainline games where you go to buy like, Donkey Kong or a new mainline Mario or Zelda, and you don't actually have the game on the disc. This is something that obviously will be delineated right there on the jewel case. It's not going to like take you by surprise. You're not going to like get home and be like, where's my game? It will be marked rather clearly on the jewel case. And so it did seem like this is targeting a particular problem last gen where you'd get that piece of paper in the code. And well, now what do you do with your physical game? It's not a physical game. You can't trade it in. You can't give it to your friend. It's literally just a jewel case. This seems to be alleviating that problem if the key card can be resold, reused by somebody else. I would imagine that it would. If it somehow links it to your account like a code, and then you can't ever give it to somebody, lend it to somebody, or trade it in, I think that's a loss for the consumer. And then it's just, again, it's just sort of a non-physical game at that point, if that makes sense. If it helps smaller games and smaller studios land in retail and find success because it's cheaper for them than having to pay for production of the discs, great. That's a win for smaller, medium-sized studios. That's a win for you because sometimes people want a physical edition of the smaller game, the indie game, and they can't get one. And I don't know if it can be played offline. Somebody in chat is asking if it can be played offline. We know you have to have online initially to download the game. I think after that, as long as it's installed, it just needs the disc in to check, and then you can play. I could be incorrect on that, but that's my rough understanding of how it works. I don't have a trailer for it, but one of the other bad things from the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is charging money for their welcome tour. This is basically like a more information-heavy Astro's Playroom, and they're charging money for it. It's kind of weird to call something a welcome tour for your brand new device and charge money for it. It just seems like something that would be like installed on the device, and if you want to check it out, you can, and if not, you would just uninstall it. But charging people money for that, I think, is a giant L. I think that's terrible optics, especially in light of the next thing. The pricing is a huge point of contention and debate, and I thought the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct not having pricing info, they didn't give info about how much it was going to cost to upgrade a game like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. They didn't tell us. They didn't tell us what the Switch 2 price was. They didn't tell us that Mario Kart was going to be $80. Now, I have a serious problem with that. I don't like when you watch something like this and there are price changes or price adjustments or new things, and you just don't put the details in the Direct. To me, that was a bad element of the Direct. I thought they should have made that more clear. I thought they should have put that information in there. Now, we're obviously going to have a debate about, whether it's right or wrong to charge $80 for a game, okay? There's no right or wrong here. There's no morality. There's no ethics. People keep arguing affordability, like, well, what about the families who can't afford it? Luxury markets do not concern themselves with people who can't afford their product, right? Rolex doesn't care that I can't afford their watch. Apple didn't care that I waited like 10 years to buy a brand new phone. I just kept taking my wife's hand-me-downs because I didn't think it was worth the sticker price of an iPhone to get a brand new iPhone. With the way that I use it, I never could justify the purchase, right? There are plenty of companies who are like, hey, this is what it costs to get this, and they don't care if I can't afford it. They don't care if you can't afford it. The market will determine whether or not these prices are going to work. And if Nintendo has proven one thing time and time again, they are the ones that can kind of do whatever they want. They can sell you cardboard. They can charge you $20 for a game upgrade, and people will probably willingly pay for it. Also, we went and looked at Super Nintendo cartridges in an ad. I mean, I was buying Super Nintendo cartridges back in the day for anywhere from $60 to $90, okay? And that is way more expensive back then. Buying games back then was equivalent to about $100 to $120 today. We're still getting games at a significantly lower cost than they used to be. And I'm just going to tell you this. Gaming has never been cheap. A lot of you guys expect it to be cheap because you've been engaging with it in a more frugal way, and that's totally fine. But I think you need to align your expectations. Gaming has never been cheap. It's always been an expensive hobby. The hardware's never been cheap. The games have never been cheap, okay? You are maybe under the impression that it should be or that it could be, but a lot of these companies will extract their profit, they will extract their revenue in some way. And if they go bottom of the barrel on the price and they don't move the price in accordance to inflation or production costs or licensure costs or any of those things that they have to do, they're going to extract that money from somewhere. Maybe they shrink their studios. Maybe they lay people off. Maybe they rush games to market, right? There's a delicate balance here between price and value and price and demand. It's not as simple as just saying that it's right or it's wrong. And I don't think this is going to affect Nintendo in any way. I think Nintendo is one of the most demand companies out there, okay? One of the other negative things from the event, there's a long list of games with known problems. Currently, there's a list of over 100 games that are coming from Switch 1 that have known compatibility issues. There's also a long list of games that just aren't going to work. They're working on this. Obviously, that's a huge disappointment for anybody who has those games that just won't be able to come over and work on day one. The worry would be some of these are older games and the third-party studio may have zero interest in making sure that the game is ready to go because you've already paid for it and they're probably already working on another project. Like allotting bandwidth at your studio to suddenly fix a Switch 1 version of a game to run on the Switch 2, well, that might not be in the cards for a lot of studios, all right? Now, last and certainly not least, there is a lot of unknowns here, okay? There's a lot of unknowns. The mouse, right? Are they going to have peripherals so it can feel more like a mouse? Like if you really, really want to use the mouse function for a game like Metroid, are they going to have something to make it more comfortable? What about the camera, right? How much is this going to be implemented into games? Is it really worth it? Obviously, it's an optional purchase. We already saw a really cute, piranha plant camera that, these are the types of things that they're really good at selling because they're a toy company, after all. Another one of the unknowns, the online quality. They seem to be really pushing into online more. A lot of what they showed off with the chat feature and the screen sharing feature and playing Mario Party with your friends, they really are pushing that online. What's the quality going to be? Now, the dock does have an Ethernet port, so hopefully that helps with some of those speeds, right? Are there more first-party games coming? That's another thing that's unknown right now. Are they going to announce more first-party games over the summer? Because basically this thing comes out on June the 5th, which is right at the beginning of Summer Game Fest. So we could see a bunch of announcements in the wake of that. Like there is the rumored, new mainline Mario that was supposed to be coming out in the holidays. If you look at the release dates for this event and for the Nintendo Switch 2, you can tell that GTA 6 is playing a role. They have a lot of 2025 dates, and they don't really have anything beyond July or August. They got a bunch of things in June and July and August, and then after August, they're just like 2025. Everything's coming in 2025. I think everybody's kind of holding their breath on GTA 6. So those are my thoughts, the good, the bad, and the unknown on the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. And now I want to hear your thoughts. I do have a video. I really hope you guys check it out. I think it's a good video. I think it's good perspective where I argue exclusives still matter, contrary to what all these people have been saying, contrary to all the claims that are out there about exclusives are anti-consumer, or this is where the industry is going, right? We're moving away from exclusives. And periodically, I am going to be pulling up footage of the various games that Treehouse is showing off. We're a little behind on the co-stream, but I will allow this to show so you guys can see brand new gameplay while we have our discussion. We have been told that it is Wi-Fi 6. Zuby is saying it's Wi-Fi 6. So let me thank some of you guys as well who you make this possible. Kaiser Sose with a member plus. Han shot first and so did you, and John always Han shot first and so did you. That was the first gifted and the first member renewal. So that bumps the line to 368. And then a $5 super chat tip from Evan Stoner. Thank you so much. And then a gifted member from Dylan gets us to 369. Thank you guys so much for your continued support of the channel. Your direct support through memberships is one of the ways I'm able to do this full time. But do me a favor. This is a free way to support us and get more people in here. Smash that like button. Let's get to 200 likes. You guys are always so good about that. And Kat with the renewal rounds us out to 370. Thank you so much, Kat. I appreciate it so much. I imagine we're going to get into a lot of discussions about price today. And I'm just going to continue to say there is no right or wrong when it comes to price. That is a complete misnomer. That's a complete misappropriation of the word right and wrong. Trying to invoke morality or imperatives here is sort of an insult to the philosophy of metaphysics. There is no right or wrong here. That is, I think that's just an insult to the categories. And, if you believe in right or wrong, if you believe in morality, if you believe that metaphysical things exist, I really don't think this is the time to invoke those words. Because a company can determine the price of their, of whatever it is that they make. They can set it to whatever they want. They could set it to $73 or if they wanted. I mean, there is no imperative on the company to lower cost or to make things more affordable. Yes, long sirens, but all in bed and safe with power by 2 a.m. Your fam. Sorry, one of my buds is checking in on us. Last night got a little crazy. So I don't know why people are hating on this game either. I think this game looks fantastic, by the way. This is brand new footage during the Nintendo Treehouse of the new Metroid game. You can argue that Nintendo is shooting itself in the foot with the prices. My perspective on the price, okay, is they can obviously determine whatever price they want, and then you have to decide whether or not it's worth it, okay? Whether or not the market accepts it is an unknown right now. My prediction is that Nintendo is in such high demand, and they have done so well since the 80s, 90s, you know, a few missteps here and there, obviously. Wii U is a misstep. They've had some missteps. I think they've achieved such a high level of demand in the market, I really don't think the price is going to hurt them at all. I really don't. I think the price of Mario Kart being 80, I mean digital, and then physical is 90, and then Donkey Kong is 70 digital, and then 80 physical. I really don't think that's going to deter lots of people. Dwayne Colavito with a $5 super chat. I'll still be buying regardless. I don't care. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat tip. I appreciate it very, very much. Did I thank? There's a $5 super chat. Oh, Evan Stoner. I thanked him during the show open. Thank you, Evan Stoner, for the $5 super chat tip. I was going to say, we already have 2 on the super chat goal. Let's get 20 more likes on the video. I just don't think as many people will upgrade as people think. I don't think you're going to be able to get your hands on this unless you're really aggressive. I think it's going to be really hard to get them. It's Nintendo. I mean that. Like, when the Nintendo Wii came out, I think this, and I know the Wii U didn't do well. I know it didn't. This is different. They have appealed to a larger base with this device. I really do mean that. I think there's going to be more people this time around that want one than even last time. Matt with 2 months. This affirms it for me now. They have emboldened GTA to drop at 100. I don't know, and thank you so much for renewing your Member Plus. That bumps the line by 1. I don't know so much if they're going to go all the way to 100. I could see GTA, I'm gonna hear, did you, I don't, hang on there. Sorry, I had something in OBS. It was like off center. I don't think GTA is going to go up to 100. I think what GTA will do will be 80, 100, 120. I do think they will raise the price. I do. I think GTA 6 will bump up from 70 to 80. I think they're going to go 80, and they'll have like Digital Deluxe at 100, and then they're going to have like the Premium at 120. It'll jump up by $20 each time. 80, 100, 120. That's what I think they're going to do. I don't think they're going to jump all the way to 100. Yeah. I think Sony will hold off on game prices until Rockstar announces GTA 6 pricing. They'll follow suit on Rockstar, not Nintendo, whether it's 70 or 100. This is something that can happen. Okay, so Nintendo, Mario Kart World price being 80 digital, 90 physical. Okay, this is what's going to happen. Now, I read about this happening with layoffs. Layoffs can kind of become a social contagion within the corporate world, okay? And the way they become a social contagion is the C-suite and the shareholders say, well, they're doing layoffs. Why are we not doing layoffs? Because they know if you do layoffs, you increase margins almost immediately because operating costs goes down. And you don't suddenly start making less money, okay? And a gifted from Joker Quinn. Hang on, Zinthos. I'm like mid train of thought here, okay? So what'll happen is the social contagion of price raising will take place. C-suite level employees, shareholders especially, you're going to hear this on earnings calls. Just buckle the frick up. It's going to happen. You're going to hear this on earnings calls. You're going to see like shareholders say, they're raising their prices. Look at what Nintendo did. Why are we not raising our prices? Because they know once that starts to happen, they can do it too. They make more money. This is what I said yesterday, okay? Instead of Mario Kart being 70, it being 80 for the digital and 90 for the physical, that's 10 to 20 extra dollars. I want you to think about the fact that Mario Kart sold 70 million copies or more of their previous Mario Kart. Every 1 million copies of Mario Kart World is going to generate 10 to 20 million more dollars for them, because every single one of those million people spent either an extra 10 or an extra 20 at 80 or 90 compared to the 70 that people were probably expecting. I don't think Mario Kart is going to struggle to sell. Every million copies, they're making an extra 10 to 20 million. You aren't going to see corporations, C-suite, and shareholders shy away from that. They're not going to. People should also recognize that College Football 25 also led to the price increase. The highest selling version of the game to sell was a $100 deluxe edition. Zinthos says, not sure if you saw this. Apparently the $90 physical for Mario Kart isn't for the US. It's marked at 80 physical, so digital is likely 70. The MSRP for Mario Kart on their website said 80, so it might just be 80-80. Or maybe they are doing what they're doing with Donkey Kong. Maybe they're going 70 digital, 80 physical. They might be just charging more for physical, and that's where the $80 is coming from. Maybe you will be able to get them base digital of 70. But Donkey Kong was listed differently than Mario Kart on the official Nintendo website that I went to. Donkey Kong was listed at 70, and Mario Kart showed me 80. So it did seem to be like they were charging more. For us, it's locked at 80, says JC. The Switch 2 presentation felt weak compared to Switch 1, even if you don't take pricing and other issues into account. I thought having 10 exclusives, 5 of those exclusives are exclusive to the Switch 2. I think that's a pretty solid showing. Within an hour, they showed 10 exclusives, 5 of which you can only get on the Switch 2, and they're just getting started. We don't know what the next mainline Zelda will look like, the next mainline Mario. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm of a very different mindset than you on that. I see it very differently. Jim D, with 23 months, so close to 2 years. Just take my whole wallet, Nintendo, he says. Thank you so much. We're at 373. We're 2 members away from me owing you guys 5 members. Guys, so many people tuning in. Thank you so much. Let me level with you guys 1 second. I'm gonna pause the gameplay just a second. I'm gonna level with you. I really want to be able to cover Nintendo. I really want to be able to do Nintendo videos and Nintendo streams of gameplay. So this turnout's encouraging. I hope you hit subscribe. I hope you come back. I do variety gaming coverage. I am safe for work. So a lot of people treat me like a podcast. They throw me on in the background of their day and they just listen, okay? So hit subscribe, hit the bell button. I've really struggled to cover Nintendo over the years because a lot of the people here are more console, more PC, and Switch 1 just felt a little bit sort of out of their preferences and wheelhouse. So I've always loved Nintendo. I'm really, really hoping that we can start to get a foothold with Nintendo games and Nintendo coverage. So thank you for being here. And a 5 bomb comes in from Siege Master, and he says, welcome to all the new people. We gift a lot of members here. We do a lot of members-only content. We did morning coffee this morning. And if you missed it, you missed some of the Treehouse stream that we watched together. Nintendo stock down today. Granted, most stocks are down. I'm not going to put a whole lot of, no pun intended. I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in a stock price drop like that. The stock will probably surge once pre-orders go live and they can report internal numbers to their shareholders. A $5 super chat from Borbor Country says, do you get paid the same as 2005? If you want similar prices, you should get paid accordingly, or else people should stop complaining and get out of gaming. And a 5 bomb train is happening. A 5 bomb comes in from Pathalon and a 5 bomb from Darth Biscuit. And that gets us to 388, welcoming so many great people to this community. If you got a membership, you get access to morning coffee. You'll get into tomorrow night's stream. I'll be hanging out with my wife. It's a Friday night stream. It's a blast and you don't want to miss it. $5 super chat tip from Juice Man. People have been paying pre-order special edition prices for decades. Stop complaining. Lona, you're the best at this. I'd rather hear you and chat talk about video games than anybody else. Well, that is super, super kind. Thank you so, so much for saying that. And I'm curious, what grade would you guys give this thing? I had a poll on the channel. We can check that in a minute. Okay, this is a boss fight. I've not gotten to see a boss fight yet in the in this Metroid. And a 5 bomb comes in from Sir Lightning Storm. Thank you so, so much. Let me add that to the total, and that is 393. Oh, we are so close to 400. I want to see some movement. I'm not seeing enough movement. Trademark Ninja. A 20 bomb comes in from Cardok Ren. Unreal. And he gets us all the way to 413. Unbelievable. And a 5 bomb comes in from Charles Freeman. And I still have some of that Derringer. I'm trying to space it out, Charles. Thank you so much. This looks slow. Yeah, I was hoping for a little bit more movement in a boss fight. I was hoping for a little bit more movement like that. There we go. Now we're getting some dashing. This could be This could be an early boss fight, so the intensity might be on the lower end, right? You know, I don't know if this game is going to be, it's not going to be Doom the Dark Ages. It's not going to be Doom, you know, Eternal or 2016. It also looks like who's ever playing. I would say that whoever, okay, so we've got some telegraphs and iframes as well, so that, you know, he telegraphed like a ground stomp thing and a wave that can be jumped over or maybe dashed through. It looked like the first time he dashed through it. This could be also the player not really leveraging agility. Like, I feel like they could be moving around quite a bit more, a little bit more of a bob and weave than we are seeing. Did you see this? Rumor, according to gaming leakers, Titanfall 3 is happening and planned to release in 2026. I did not see that, no. Yo, what's good? ADR Zone with a renewal. Lono and the Reforge gang, hope you are well. We had a little bit of a gifted member train there, and now we're at $4.19. And a $10 super chat from Darth Biscuit. I'm okay with paying these prices only if we don't see games at the quality of Scarlet and Violet, and that is confetti. You just made it rain confetti on the chat. That means that I owe you guys a member. That's going to perfectly round us out to 420. This is the only time you can get me to add to the total. We're now 5 away from 425. I will gift a member. We always reset that super chat goal because you can keep going and keep getting more people in, and then Sorcerer is going to bump the line to 421, making the next 5 bomb and Agents of Chaos. The Titanfall 3 NVIDIA leak stands strong. This boss fight is not good. Some of it's the player. I'm going to be honest. I do feel like we're dealing with the player who's not leveraging movement like at all. See now they are. See, this is how you're supposed to fight this fight. You're supposed to be circling around and advance, you know, not just standing straight in front. See, that was better. Looks like a slow Doom 2016. Well, it is Metroid. I don't expect it to be Doom. I don't expect it to be Returnal. You know, what's the boss's excuse? It's the first, I think it's like the first boss, so I'm not anticipating the game being incredibly, you know, ball busting right at the beginning. This has to be easy mode. I don't know. We have the audio off, but there is a potential. There is a potential that they have it chalked down to easy because they have somebody unfamiliar with the game playing. I mean, that certainly is a possibility, that because he doesn't seem to be doing much. I will admit the boss does not seem to be doing much. He does seem to be just kind of sauntering around a little bit, which, again, I didn't play. I always loved Super Metroid, and I never got into the first-person Metroids. I do like the use of, like, wave blast attacks and things like that, where he's having to use, like, the ball. Samus, I'm sorry, she's having to use the ball to go underneath or jump above. If you guys have not hit, oh, okay. People are claiming that I'm poor shaming. Gee, I wonder why somebody thinks I'm poor shaming. There's no way that somebody didn't rip my comments out of context and claim that I poor shamed. I've never shamed anybody for being poor, but, you know, liars gotta lie. Have you ever played Metroid Prime? No. My older brother loves Metroid Prime, and I never played it. It was not my jam. Like, I was such a big Super Metroid fan. That when Metroid Prime came out, I just had no interest in it. He loved it, and I was, like, so disappointed. I was like, that's not what I want from Metroid. It was such a departure. That I just had zero interest in it. I have an interest in this. I think this looks really, really good, but I will admit that boss fight was pretty slow. So, yeah. We will periodically pull up new gameplay. Nintendo Treehouse has been consistently showing off new gameplay of games. They showed off Donkey Kong. They showed off Mario Kart. I'll go back and show you Donkey Kong and Mario Kart as well. I will do that for you. Let's see here. I'm trying to skip forward. I don't know how long. They say we'll be right back. But if you guys haven't hit subscribe on the channel yet, be sure to do that. Looks like they're going to show off more Mario Kart World here, which I'm all about it. So let's check it out while we continue to have a great conversation. And continue to hit the like button as well. We're on our way to 300 likes. You guys are crushing the support today. Prime starts off slow and it picks up later on. Perhaps that Metroid 4 is going to be the same way. It's going to be slow. That first boss seemed like... The boss almost seemed like a tutorial. It really did. It was like the boss was teaching you, I have weak points. I have slow-moving attacks that you can destroy. I have wave blast attacks you can jump over or go under. Like, it did seem a bit tutorial-esque. Almost like they were trying to, train you in some of the various things that you can do. That's an opening boss. Samus has her abilities. There were on-screen instructions. I wasn't looking that closely, yeah. So it sounds like our instincts are correct that the game is not going to probably be like that the entire time. It's, it's an opening boss, / tutorial. I want to see the puzzle and exploration elements. I'm so low on it so far because I haven't seen anything new yet. Wait. I want to see. Puzzle and exploration in Metroid. They may do more of that in this Treehouse stream because this is their second time coming back to Mario Kart. So, I wonder, are they going to go full screen? I never want to tell anybody how to stream, but this is not how you stream gameplay. I'm just going to say it. This is not how you stream gameplay. You can do picture-in-picture with the people. I don't mind seeing the people. You can show me the people, but this is not the greatest way to showcase the game. They did showcase it earlier for full screen, so I think what they're showing now is just, you can play with the people multiplayer. The thing that I really pick up on, though, with Mario Kart that I really like is graphical fidelity, lighting, track detail, size of track, scope of how far you can see. The areas just feel massive. There's just this big openness to the game. It feels very big and open, and then obviously performance. Getting that 60 FPS just looks so good. Nintendo's arrogance is back to a similar degree of their SNES Nintendo 64 days. I don't know if it's arrogance or just what we all knew was coming, right? Just what we knew was coming. You had to know deep down somewhere in the deep recesses of your heart and your soul and your mind that a price bump was coming beyond the 70 that we've been dealing with. I've been trying to tell people for the longest time, and instead of engaging in, market analysis and engaging with my discussion, I just get called a corporate shill and a bootlicker because that's the depth of conversation you get from Neanderthals. I've been telling people for a long time that we have been spending way less on games than we've ever historically. Like when you bought Breath of the Wild for $60 or Tears of the Kingdom for $70, you were spending such a small amount of money for every minute that you got in those games. Like the dollars to minute, the dollars to value compared to when you were buying like a Super Nintendo cartridge. It's like we've actually had very stable, very static video game prices for such a long time. GTA, yes, not Mario Kart. So you think the previous Mario Kart sold close to 70 million copies? And you think they're not in a strong position in the market to charge a lot of money? I think that you are ignorant to how strong Mario Kart is in the market. Like, you want to act like GTA 6 is in some special class of game. I really think people continue to forget to put respect on Nintendo's name. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I'll play Silk Song on the PlayStation probably. That's where I'm building my library now. That's where I do all my gaming. For the most part. Today we're playing South of Midnight on my Series X. I'll obviously have to play first-party Nintendo games on the Switch too, but I don't see playing a lot of third-party games on the Switch too. I'm not traveling that much, so there wouldn't be a whole lot of reason for me to buy Silk Song on my Switch too. When and why did time become a factor in value of a game? That's a dangerous road to go down. I didn't say that it was. I was saying that we are getting far more dollars to value and dollars to time. I separated them. I might have said it very quickly, but I separated them. Like, are you going to honestly argue that, Breath of the Wild isn't full of significantly more value, replayability, quality, scope, and all of that compared to, The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, which is, my favorite Zelda? You spent more money on The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past cartridge than you did on Breath of the Wild. You did. That's a fact. According to inflation, it was way more expensive back then to buy games. And as I said in the show open, Gaming has never been cheap. I don't know why suddenly people are treating it like it's a cheap hobby. I don't know why. Every other hobby, every other industry has had their prices go up. Are you fly fishing? Do you like rollerblading? Do you go hunting? Have the prices of those items stayed the same as they were in the 90s? Have they? Can you spend the same amount of money that you spent in the 90s? What about the early 2000s? What about 25 years ago? Are you still going to the store and buying the things you need to buy for your hobby of choice? Are the prices static? Yeah, can you go golfing? Can you go buy golf clubs, golf balls, and go pay to be a part of a country club? Is it the same price that it was 20 and 30 years ago? Is it? Are any other hobbies in existence sitting with the 20 to 30 year static price point? I don't think that they are. Gaming has never been cheap. Luxury items have never been cheap. They never have. They just haven't. Gaming's always been expensive. It was a rare treat for our parents to buy us a video game back in the day. We weren't buying video games every month. We weren't. We were getting them like one for our birthday. Every time it was somebody's birthday, it was exciting because somebody was going to get a game. We were going to get a game. Christmas, we might get two. It was expensive. Eugene says, bro, I can't buy a nice golf polo for less than $70 now. Yeah, ain't no way golf polos were $70 20 and 30 years ago. Ain't no way. So Nintendo is luxury? You think 1080 is luxury? Now you're speaking to consumer preference. Video games are a luxury market. That's what they are. You think a $450, console that you can take with you as a handheld, you don't think that's a luxury item? What do you think that is? You're moving the goalpost, by the way. If you don't like 1080 on a handheld, then don't buy any handhelds right now. You don't seem to be even in tune with what the quality threshold of most handhelds are. Like, the average handheld's not going much farther above 1080 to 1440 thresholds. You want to do 4K on a handheld? Super chat from Super Googly. People need to wake up. If games go up in dollar value like everything else, games will be $250 a piece by now, and that's on the low side. I still remember buying Final Fantasy 2 import cartridge for $120. Back in our day, to get a video game, your grades had to better be good, chores done, and don't even misbehave at school. These people don't know a thing. That's what I'm saying, dude. No OLED screen sucks. They'll do an OLED later, almost assuredly. Zubair says, I need to push back a little. Prices haven't gone up, but our spending has gone way up through microtransactions and DLC and deluxe editions. Those are all completely optional purchases, so no, our spending has gone up volitionally, not coercedly. No one made you buy those microtransactions, those DLCs, those deluxe editions. You didn't have to do that. Up until very recently, you could have still been buying games for $60. You could have. You could have spent $60 a game. Right? Yes, they make you FOMO. FOMO, no. You don't understand the word make. If you think they make you, how weak is your will, sir? How weak is your willpower that you think FOMO makes you do something? Does FOMO make you, like, if your friends have the day off and go to the park and you have FOMO and you ditch work, what are you going to tell your boss? They made you do it? Sorry, boss. They made me. I mean, I had FOMO, bro. Fear of missing out. It was a beautiful day out. Sorry. Had to take a personal day. Short notice. They made me. There have been studies on how they manipulate you into buying. So the frick what? Be smarter. Be stronger. Every company are using psychological means to get you to buy their item. Do you buy everything in the store? Do you walk through the grocery store and go bankrupt? Do you go into the Lego store and go bankrupt because they position the branding, the logos, the colors, the price tags, right? The music in the store, the lighting in the store. All of that is done and sifted through the sifting bowl of marketing strategies and human psychology to get you to buy the dadgum product. Do you walk into the store and walk out bankrupt because you just couldn't control yourself? What are we even talking about here? What are we even saying? No one made you buy a deluxe edition. No one made you buy a DLC or pay for early access. Nobody made you do that. You chose to do it willingly. Willingly. If you're that powerless, if you can't control your spending to that degree that all they got to do is like jingle some things in front of you, you get a pretty car. You get early access. You don't want to miss out. Your friends are going to be playing, you know. And you're like, I can't control myself. I must buy it. Super Googly with another super chat says, I bet the dudes complaining about the $10 price increase are the ones complaining about the $700 PS5 Pro. How about stop being broke? Well, listen to me now. Listen to me. If times are tough and you can't afford it, you can't just like stop being down on your luck. Sometimes things just don't go your way, right? I went from being in a position where I could have gone into the Lego store and told my kids they could get whatever they want. There was a time where that's how much I was earning every month. That would have been nothing to me. It would have been nothing. I would have been like, oh, you want the $500 Hogwarts Legacy? That's fine. You want the Hogwarts set? That's fine. Get it. Life had different plans. God had different plans for me, right? I'm not even close to that level of earnings now. We go to the store. We went to the store recently, Lego store. I wanted to treat my kids because they had done a good job with, you know, having to take their medicine. They had a rough couple of weeks being sick. And I was like, you can each get $30. You each get $30 to spend, right? That's where I am right now. I can't just go in and buy the $450 Eye of Sauron Lego set. I want it. You know, how dare Lego charge that much money for plastic bricks? How dare they do that? Right? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you're at a spot in life right now where this is a bank breaker, you're like, I can't buy the Switch, I can't buy an $80 Mario Kart. Man, I feel for you. But that doesn't create an imperative. There's no morality here. There's no ethics here. They charge what they want to charge. And you either get it or you don't. Right? You either get it or you don't. The market either bears it or the market doesn't. I don't think people are really bothered, Emissary says. I know people who bought different Switches just to be collectors of the designs. They are used to no price drop on their games. I can't wait for Lono to defend $200 games. If you think what I'm doing is I'm defending the price increase, your ability to listen and discern, you sound like you live on Twitter. You do. There's no rightness or wrongness here. There's no defending what they're doing. This is just what companies do. This is just reality. If you think I'm quote unquote defending what they're doing, nope, that's your department. So I live on Twitter as I sit here and stream long periods of time and then make videos in the afternoon and then go hang out with my family. If you think I'm terminally on Twitter, you're just projecting. It's an arm's length transaction for entertainment. It's not insulin. Yeah, like there's no defense here. I'm just telling you how it is. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can have any version of reality of me in your brain. Why would I care about the immaterial and ignorant false thoughts that you have about me in your brain? Do you think you matter? Do you think your opinion of me matters? Like, I really want you to think about that. You think on the grand scheme of, like, what I care about and what I do with my time. Do you think I care what you think of me? You think after a decade of live streaming and putting up with people like you that there's an ounce of my brain that cares? I only have the version that you show us. Well, there's no evidence that I live on Twitter. I tweet here and there. I barely reply to people. I barely ever reply. There's no evidence. You're just making a false claim. You should go write a twit longer. Maybe you get to interview Phil Spencer. Lying about me in the public seems to go hand in hand with that. The only argument I sympathize with is that the reasoning for microtransactions, etc., was that they wouldn't have to raise game prices, but we're so far from that time that it's whatever to me. Yeah, I mean, this is not me defending Nintendo. This is the reality of gaming. This is the reality of gaming. Gaming's always been expensive. The price of games, like staying static for as long as it did, and a 10 bomb comes in from Rissick and gets us to 431, launching us up on the weekly member count. Like, seriously, game prices have stayed static for so long. All I've said today is we should have expected this. I said for a very long time, you should have expected this to happen. And instead of engaging with what I say and analyzing it from an actual economical standpoint or just looking at the market, no, we'll just call me a corporate shill, a bootlicker. You'll just say that I'm defending Nintendo and, oh, I can't wait for you to defend $200, prices. What was your reaction to the price of the Pro? I wasn't here. I analyzed the market. I analyzed the level of increase in performance that we were getting. I compared it to how much money you would have to spend to upgrade a PC, and I determined that an extra $250 was well worth what they gave us in performance. Digital Foundry just described the global illumination in Assassin's Creed Shadows as generational leap, a generational leap for $250. And a 20 bomb from Rissick. Thank you very much, sir. That's an Agents of Chaos. This man set himself up for a 20 bomb. Like, nobody has ever factually engaged with my position on the Pro because you can't. You can't. The level of performance jump that I got going from my base PS5 to a Pro for $250 more. Like if you go to the store right now and you want to get the digital PS5 for $450 or the Pro for $700, it's a $250 difference. If you analyze that from a technical perspective and you go build a PC right now for $1,250 and you increase your budget by $250, you won't get that level of performance jump. You won't. The Pro is actually worth it. Have I argued whether or not the Switch or Mario Kart was worth it today? Have I done that? I've not once argued the merits or the tech or the price. I've not done that. All I've talked about is inflation, which is a completely different category. All I've said today was the games you bought back in the 90s on the Super Nintendo were more expensive than an $80 Mario Kart today. And the size and the scope of Mario Kart World is enormous comparatively. I didn't say that you did. You said that I was defending it. I haven't defended it. You said that you couldn't wait for me to defend $200 games. I've not given any indication that I would defend an unlimited increase in game pricing. That almost made it look like my arm was the maraca. I was arguing, this is what always happens in these discussions is I talk like I'm writing a chapter. So I got into the chapter, I got into the context, I got into the topic and the category of inflation, and we should have seen this coming. We should have. Because video game prices staying static for over 30 years is insane. It's insane. That's all I was arguing. I wasn't saying that Mario Kart was worth it. I wasn't saying that they're justified in increasing their pricing. Never said that. I said they can determine and set the price to whatever they want, and then the market determines whether or not it's worth it. You have to determine whether or not it's worth it. That's what you're supposed to do. They're supposed to extract as much money and profit as they can out of the market, and you're supposed to extract as much value as you can out of the market. That's your job. If you determine that it's not worth it, if you determine that it's not, that it's too expensive, then you don't buy. You save. You skip. You wait. Waiting for a sale is a bit of a mistake with Nintendo. They don't generally mark things down. I'm trying to skip ahead. I think we're somewhat hemorrhaging viewers because nobody gives a crap about this tour. Here, I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you guys. We're going to go back and we're going to look at Mario Kart. There's a huge difference between Mario Kart and GTA. GTA probably has $1 billion budget and looks like it does. They can usher in the new price point successfully, not Nintendo. I love how little people think of Nintendo. I think it's kind of adorable. I really do. I think it's adorable how people look at Nintendo as if they're not the god in the room. I said yesterday, they're Godzilla. They're going to stand up out of the water and everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, we forgot about this Leviathan. We forgot all about them. It's just adorable. See the Wii U? This is not the same as the Wii U. It isn't. I think it's adorable that people think this is equal to the Wii U. You think this is equal to the Wii U? Come on. What are you saying, Eugene, here? People lined up in droves for horse armor. They shelled out for more expensive digital deluxe editions. Consumers brought this upon themselves. They buy a week of early access. They buy armor sets that cost more than games. This is all on consumers. Consumers signaled that it was okay, and now they're mad. Fake outrage. You're saying they can step in it? Well, I don't think that there's evidence that they're stepping in it. Mario Kart being $10 more, I think you're really stretching. You're stretching to the point that you're going to give yourself a bit of a muscle spasm. Like, if you think Mario Kart being $10 more is equal to what they did with the Wii U, or you're thinking that like they're taking a similar risk, I think you're absolutely reaching. You just are. Listen, Mario Kart's the previous Mario Kart has sold over 70 million copies. I want you to think about that for a moment. 70 million. There are 150 million Switches that have been sold. More than half of the number of Switches sold is the number of copies that Mario Kart has sold. Now, to be fair, it's been on multiple platforms, so it has a distinct advantage within market saturation. But I'm just giving you a picture of, more than half of the number of Switch ones that were sold. That's how many copies of the previous Mario Kart has sold. Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or whatever the name is now. Okay? They're not stepping in it. They're taking a game that they know is at an insane high level of demand, and they're making it, number one, they're making it exclusive to the Switch 2, which I told y'all they were going to do that. I said they were going to leverage Mario Kart. There was a reason they showed it in that first trailer. They were signaling to you that this was going to be their day one doorbuster. Like, you're going to want to get a Switch 2 to play this. You're talking about a game that is so globally popular, that is so iconic because it's Mario. Somebody said 70 million copies is low. 70 million is low, Lono. There have been 130 million Switches. I think Anthony is joking around. Super Googly with another super chat says, imagine your friends are all playing and you say you won't join because it's $10 more. Yeah, I think Anthony's joking. I think the price of the Switch 2 is what's getting lost in the shuffle here. The Switch 2 is $450, and it's an impressive device. It's an impressive handheld. This is going to go just the same way as the PS5 Pro. It's going to go the same way. All the cheap frugality that has woven its way into the mindset of the gaming populace is dictating the discussion. Everybody bloviated and pissed and moaned about the price of the Pro, and then it got into the hands of the tech analysts, and we're seeing the results, and it's impressive. Calling Assassin's Creed Shadows on the Pro a generational leap. Yeah, that's a really nice commercial for something that we were told is overpriced and a scam. I think people are doing the same thing now. I think people doing the exact same thing now. You're getting way ahead of yourself. This thing's going to hit the market. It's going to hit the hands of the analysts, and they're going to be like, this is a really, really impressive handheld for $450. and the fact that you can dock it and get even better performance. Tenor with 43 months. Lono, I think people get too used to hearing ideology, so when they hear someone speaking to reality, they think that it's defending. Well, thank you so much for bumping the line to... Whoops, I messed that up. Hang on, let me cancel so I don't miss it. It's 52. 452, thank you. Tenor Dude for renewing. And I agree with you, Tenor Dude. Siri with the $5 Super Chat tip says, do all people that are complaining about price increases never ask for raises at work? Companies and people want the most that they can get. Thank you for the $5 Super Chat tip. I don't know what. Maybe that's it. The yen is low. Yeah, the yen is very weakened right now. That is true. The price is fine for a handheld. That's kind of my point, right? Is it's like, if we actually stop talking about Mario Kart being $80 for a second, and you just look at the price of the Switch 2 at $450, and listen, Nintendo is rather brilliant here. I think they knew there was going to be consternation and complaint about the price. Well, what's hitting the airwaves today? They are flooding the airwaves with previews. Hands-on previews of Mario Kart. Hands-on previews of Donkey Kong. Hands-on previews of Metroid. It's an impressive device. I saw footage of somebody playing Tears of the Kingdom. It was clearly 60. It was clearly 60 FPS. That's a very privileged statement. He says, do all these people complaining about price increases never ask for raises at work? Companies and people want the most they can get. How is what he said privileged? What he's saying is you've never wanted to make more money. You've never wanted to earn more money. Like, that's the nature of employment or adding value to a company, is that typically people want to make more, especially the longer that you're there, the more that you contribute. This is the same argument I make when people complain about upgrading costs for games. Like, can I go to your job and ask, hey, the thing I made 5 years ago, can you update it now for free? Right. Right. Do you work for free? Would you do things for free? Would you come back and redo things and fix things in my home that you worked on 5 years ago for free? Well, I mean, you did it 5 years ago. I paid you 5 years ago. Why don't you come in and fix it and make it more modern? You know, call some electrician that was in my house 5 or 6 years ago and be like, well, you did all this lighting and stuff and all this work for me. Can you update it all to more modern, amenities of electricity in a home? And can you just do it for free? I mean, I paid you 5 or 6 years ago, so why just do it for free? I think that argument fails because it doesn't reflect what is actually happening in the market, where employee protections and wage increases are at all-time lows compared to corporate profits. Well, I mean, that's an entirely different discussion, though. So if you think that you're going to wage a war against these companies, like, let's just say you guys all successfully boycott and convince a bunch of people to boycott, and you diminish the sales and the profit and the revenue of these games. The first thing, obviously, that could happen is Nintendo tries to fix it, and they standardize $70 pricing, both for physical and for digital. Let's just say they do that, okay? Now, you have to remember that they had projected revenue, projected profit, and, gains that they were wanting to see from those price points. And dropping those prices down, typically you're going to find a company at that point in time, at that juncture, finding a way to essentially make that money back somehow. Because if you're not going to extract it from the consumer, you're going to have to extract it from somewhere, okay? Now, what do you think companies this size will do if they're trying to rectify the fact that, well, the consumers have spoken rather loudly. They've revolted. We need to lower the price of the items that we were counting on being able to sell for, 80 digital, 90 physical on Mario Kart, okay? Typically what they'll do is they'll extract that money, they'll extract that revenue from operating costs. They'll either do layoffs, right? The CEO would take a pay cut again. Well, that's actually a Japanese law thing. That's not something that is necessarily going to be very common. Just because they're facing, layoffs like people were facing, because in the past there was overhiring that took place in like 2020 and 2021. The response in a lot of these situations is to lay people off. Now, Nintendo might not do that, but generally that's what corporations do. Right? If you rant, if you rave, if you scream, you cry, and you refuse to pay the money, the business is going to get the money from somewhere. So acting like you're standing on some moral high ground of like, well, this is wrong, I'm not going to support that, this is corporate greed. The corporate machine is not going to be like, that's fine, we'll just lower the price. We don't care about the money that we were projected to earn off this. Real question. Will higher first-party costs for games on Switch reduce the sales of third-party games? In what way, Zubair? People feel like they're spending more money on the first-party titles, and so then they don't feel like they've got money to spend on the third-party titles? Is that what you're thinking? Don't want to hear excuses for Nintendo game reviews on graphics and performance for higher prices than PS5 games for reviews. It's not an equivalency. It isn't. It's not. PlayStation sells on a completely different value structure. Like there's not a nice way to say. That's just completely and utterly ignorant. The Nintendo Switch 2 is not selling itself on the same value points and the same value propositions that a PS5 or a PS5 Pro is selling on. So, acting as if the game should be reviewed in the same way. Well, we're going to take points off. Why? Well, there was no 4K ray tracing mode. What the frick? The value proposition of the Nintendo Switch 2 is not the same value proposition as a PS5 or a PS5 Pro. They're not the same. So yes, the PlayStation 5 games, first-party games, PlayStation 5 Pro games, especially first-party games, are going to look unbelievable. You're not going to play games at that fidelity and at that performance on the Nintendo Switch 2 because it's literally not offering that to you. Like, you're going to a pizza restaurant and taking off points because there's no steak. Like, that they didn't tell you that there was going to be steak. Like, if you buy Nintendo Switch 2 and you review the games and you take off points because it's not hitting performance thresholds and fidelity thresholds of the PS5, the Pro, or like a high-end PC, you're quite literally taking off points for something that they never promised you was going to happen. It's like going to a water park and taking off points because there's no roller coasters. It's like they literally didn't even tell you that was going to be a thing. What do you mean? South of Midnight got a 74 on Metacritic. Man, I was really looking forward to that one. Why did it do so poorly? I thought at least it would land in the low 80s. A 76. 71 on PC. Oof. Jeepers. Once you drop out of the 80s, that's not very good. South of Midnight didn't interest me at all. South of Mid. Oh, stop. Can Game Pass get a win? I mean, you got to win with Indiana Jones. Avowed did better, didn't it? King Sovereign with 28 months. I think Nintendo might be making a mistake. Releasing in June when the economic forecasts look grim, at least in the nearer term. Will the buyer be there? I believe they've ensured that they'll be shielded from that. I believe they have made measures to shield themselves from that, so the price won't have to like fluctuate or anything. I don't think people are going to bat an eye at spending, $500 in the summer. What about tariffs? No, yeah, they've made moves to protect themselves from that. You're not going to suddenly pre-order it and it's going to be $600 or $700 or something like that. I'd say that anything below an 80 is a waste of my time personally. I'm not trying to be like you know, a review score like elitist or anything, but my backlog is way too full to be playing games with a score like that. You know what I'm saying? My backlog is busting at the seams, dude. It is busting at the seams. The tariffs have hit everyone. They've not gotten out of them. What do you mean? They've made assurances that they're not going to have to raise the prices of the device. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? You think you're going to pre-order this thing in a week or pre-order it in May, and then they're going to come back in June and be like, just kidding, we got to charge you more now. Like, what are you talking about? They've made moves so that they don't have to raise the price of this thing. That's now, as far as consumers being willing to spend in June, again, I don't know if all that's going to be so tectonic that people won't be willing to spend $500 in the summer. I just don't know. They did that with GPUs. They actually canceled orders and increased the price. If that happens, I mean, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. I don't know. I don't know enough to talk about the likelihood of Nintendo doing that. I'm not. We're stepping out of my area of knowledge and familiarity. Like, all I know is there's a lot of unknowns. There could be dire ramifications. It could all be quickly walked back. I mean, that we just don't know. In 2 months from now, we could all be saying, wow, it really calmed down rather quickly. Or we could be saying, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Upgrade prices at 20. It seems as though upgrade prices are going to vary from 10 to 20. It's hard to know. All right, we got more Mario Kart footage for you here. The Switch 2 was coming out last year and the prices were already decided. Yeah, I don't think these prices are in relation to any of that right now. I don't think they raised the prices in relation to that. If they did, it wouldn't just be Mario Kart. Even if Nintendo says they're going to give free DLC justifying the $90 price, it's still sad because it's just that they are forcefully shoving the docks to us. I don't know what you're trying to say. All I know is I've been playing games since the Coleco, and when Nintendo walks out with games, first party games especially, I know I'm going to get a good product. I know it's going to be fun. I know my kids are going to love it. I know I'm going to extract a bunch of value out of it. And if the cost to engage with Nintendo's property and product goes up, as it has, I have to determine whether or not I still think it's worth it. Right? That's all I can do. I determined that the Switch 1 got dated too quickly and it wasn't worth it. I stopped buying games for it. I stopped playing it. It got played with and used less and less and less over time. So they got less money from me over time. I didn't think buying a full price game over there was worth it because of the power and the performance. I'm looking at the Switch 2 and I'm saying, this is hitting a threshold of performance that I enjoy. I can tolerate, 1440 60. I can tolerate 4K 60. Undocked, I can tolerate 1080 60. That all sounds great to me. If I get to a point where I feel like they're launching games that are either falling below that or they're not consistent enough or whatever, then I'll do the same thing. They'll stop getting money from me For how long? I don't know. I did the same thing with Xbox. Xbox stopped giving me things at the threshold, at the quality, at the cadence, or whatever you want to say. They stopped giving me what I expected to get from them. So Xbox got less money from me. I've purchased less games. I've turned on my Xbox less often. I'm not making microtransaction purchases there. I'm not building a library there anymore. I'm now buying third-party games on my PlayStation 5 Pro. Back in the day when I was playing Destiny, didn't do that. I didn't do that. I was building my library and I was buying all third-party games on Xbox. So Xbox, as time has gone on, they've gotten less and less money from me. I'm now no longer building a library on their platform. I don't buy third-party games over there. I'm going to treat Nintendo the exact same way. If Nintendo stops delivering, if they stop delivering on the things that I wanted, or I start delivering first-party games, and I feel like they're underperforming and they're not performing well, then they'll stop getting money from me. Like, I've tried to tell people, I don't give companies my loyalty. I give them my money. And if I stop getting from them what I want to get, they stop getting my money. That's it. That's how I operate. That's how I operate in the gaming economy. So both Nintendo and both Xbox, they stopped getting money from me this gen. Nintendo's about to start getting money from me again. Why? Well, because they're offering the things that I want. They're offering games at a performance level that I'm willing to engage with. Donkey Kong was the only good thing in the presentation. I don't agree. I thought Mario Kart looked incredible. I thought the upgrades to the Zelda games looked incredible. The added content to Kirby looked incredible. The wheelchair game was obviously pretty creative. Not my kind of game. I thought that looked good. Yeah, I thought Metroid looked really, really good. You know, talking about 4K 60, you know, to 1080 120, you know, undocked, you know, 1080 60 in Metroid. I think it all looks great. 30 FPS Elden Ring and Cyberpunk. Okay. Let's talk about that. Anybody who cares about frames per second in Elden Ring and Cyberpunk is not buying a Switch 2 to play third-party games. You would have never done that. There is not a universe, there's not an instance in Doctor Strange's mind where you were going to buy a Switch 2 to be your primary third-party avenue of gaming, if you care about frames per second in games like Elden Ring and Cyberpunk. Number one, you probably already played those games on your PC or your Xbox or your PlayStation. Like, you understand that, like, if that's you as a consumer, there's not a reality, there's not an existence, there's not a universe where, like, you were going to buy the Switch 2 to play third-party games like Elden Ring and Cyberpunk. You weren't going to do that. You're probably like me. If you care about frames per second in games like Elden Ring and Cyberpunk, you've played them on your PC, your Xbox, or your PlayStation, and you're buying a Switch 2 for this. For Donkey Kong, for Mario Kart, for Zelda, for Mario, for Metroid, for Mario Party. I'm not. I already own them elsewhere. You already own what elsewhere? What do you own elsewhere? Are you talking about Cyberpunk and Elden Ring? Come on, Lono, you know FPS was where they were going to take this argument. It's all they got. Is that Bob Ross? I don't know. I don't know who that is. You're getting PS4 performance from the Switch 2? Not in the first party games, I'm not. There were very few 60 FPS games on my PS4. I'm going to get 60 FPS from Zelda, from Mario, from Donkey Kong, Mario Kart. I didn't get that on my PS4. On my PS4 Pro, I played God of War and Spider-Man at 30 FPS. Like, 60 FPS is a big deal break, is a big change for me. That's a big bump for me. And I didn't get this to play third-party games. I got to play first-party games. I'm going to get the Switch 2, to play first-party games. A $5 Super Chat tip from Wired Rope. The most powerful handheld chip that hasn't even come to the market yet is the 4060 equivalent, and that still is running off of a battery, not a wall outlet. And Super Googly says, I bought Witcher 3 for the Switch just for the laughs. Let me reset the goal. I'm going to reset the goal, and then I'm going to add a member to the count. You guys are making me add members to the count. I'm going to have to go back and see what I owe you guys right now. I think I owe you 20. We are 2 away from 455. 455 is really good bait for a 20 bomb to 475. The FPS argument is so daft, I'll never get on board. That's what I mean. Like, the idea that you would ever buy a Nintendo console for high-performant third-party games. I was getting a Switch 2 because of better hardware for Nintendo Switch games. Now I have to pay even more to utilize that new hardware on top of that hardware purchase. And a 50 bomb from Rissick! The big one, the Death Star, comes out of nowhere and takes us all the way to 503. That's an Agent of Chaos 50 bomb. Rissick says, we don't need to mess around with 475. We're going for the 600. We're going for the 600. We got to think of something that we should do tonight. Friday night. What were we going to make Madam play for the stretch goal? Can you guys remember what it was? I can't remember what we were going to make Madam play. It was something that just came out, I thought. Nintendo put in work to enhance those games and you want it for free. I'll never get behind that. Yeah, I'll never get behind that either. Guys, while the chat is being completely taken over and hijacked by Rissick's 50 bomb, take a quick second and smash the like button. Right? Take a quick second and smash the like, and a 5 bomb comes in from Wired Rope and keeps the count going to 508. Guys, weather dependent. We are going to do the IRL stream on Saturday. We are going to do the IRL stream on Saturday, but it is weather dependent. We are getting absolutely dumped on the next couple of days. Maybe the rain will be done by Saturday evening and we can do that stream. Maybe. J-Dub and chat exposed. Sometimes they're not here when they get the gifted, so J-Dub might not even be here. Guys, we just asked for some likes, and the like count didn't move. Make sure YouTube is saving your like. Make sure. Double check right now. What was your reaction to Donkey Kong's redesign? It's certainly something I have to get used to. I think he looks adorable. Well, it's the same. It's the same Donkey Kong from the movie. People sniffed that out in the Mario Kart trailer back when the Switch was first announced. The Switch 2 was first announced. Like whatever it was, like a month ago. And so yeah, I think he looks great. He's straight out of the movie. South of Midnight has platforming like Respawn's Star Wars. We are going to be playing South of Midnight this afternoon. I'm not really sure when. We'll probably play for about an hour. It's not getting the greatest of scores. I'm kind of disappointed seeing that. I'm hoping I can enjoy it anyway. Is it bad? It's not getting great scores. It has like a 76 on Metacritic, and that's with, Xbox outlets that are, kind of helping it, and then everybody else is not really vibing with it. Is it out tomorrow? No, you can pay $10 if you're on Game Pass like I am. If you're on Game Pass, you can pay $10 for the premium upgrade and play early. Maddie said he'd recommend it as a Game Pass game, but not a full price purchase. I don't know how that's accepted in this industry. Good for Game Pass, but nothing else. Have you ever enjoyed a game that didn't score well? Generally when games fall that low, Yana did, I don't think so. It's got an 80 on OpenCritic. Well, that's encouraging. I've enjoyed games that have been in the low 80s. I have. Like the original Ghost of Tsushima got low 80s, but then the director's cut got a much higher score. I'm not really sure what happened and why all of a sudden the game score jumped so much. Tsushima's a masterpiece. That Metacritic score will never make sense to me. Generally, once a game's score drops out of the 80s, I can't really think of a game in like the 70s that I've been like, oh man, the critics got this wrong. I loved this game. That's not really been the case for me. So Days Gone got terrible reviews. I loved it. Well, Days Gone also got a lot of bad reviews because it had a lot of problems when it launched, and it aged like a fine wine. Whenever they added it to PS Plus, everyone was like, why'd this game get such a bad score? It's such a great game. So I think at this point I owe you guys 20. I'm just going to drop a 20 bomb. I'll add it up later and make sure that I'm completely paid up, but I'm going to do a 20 bomb right now. My allergies are acting up. My nose is driving me crazy. It wasn't bothering me yesterday. It is today. I wonder if all the rain is making it act up. Kazan was criminally underrated in its Metacritic score. In my opinion, it should have had at least in the low 90s. They're doing lots of balancing and lots of tweaking to that game as well, so I'm glad to put that one in my backlog and kind of wait. They'll figure all that out, and whenever I go play, it'll probably be a significantly better game, like more balanced. What do you think of the C button? I thought that was the most disappointing part of it. A game on a controller has a monthly subscription service to use. What happens to the button if you don't pay? Yeah, I thought that was an absolute dud, and I also thought they took way too much time to show it off. It's not even that impressive. It's like, oh, you can do like a Discord chat while you're playing with people, and there's a low-resolution camera? Like, huh? Figured out your thoughts on Death Stranding yet? I have a video coming tomorrow, Wooly, called Death Stranding Shouldn't Exist. And I walk through why that game should not exist, but why I'm so glad that it does. And I also talk about like how and why it works, and I give people advice on how to play it. I'm really proud of that video. I rolled through credits, and it blew my freaking mind. Finally getting to see what was going on with Mads' character, Mads Mikkelsen. Kojima, you rascal. Is one of the best video games I've ever played. One of the most memorable, most special video games I've ever played. It's still hanging in the air. It is. That game is just still hanging in the air. Yeah. Took you long enough? Homie, I'm casual dad gamer, and I put like 46 hours into that dadgum game. Cut me some slack. What's the name of that video? I want to watch that. We're gonna release it tomorrow, Brandon. In the afternoon. It's gonna be called Death Stranding Shouldn't Exist. What's crazy is I said that a while ago and said I wanted to make that video, and then I was watching a King Thrash video and he said the same thing. He literally said the same thing verbatim, like Death Stranding shouldn't exist. And I was like, my homie Thrash out here and I are like separated at birth. People were thinking that I was like watching his channel and his roundtable based on how much I said that he had said. And I was like, I've watched a couple of his videos. I'd never watched a roundtable. And then somebody sent me a clip and they were like, these guys think you watch their show. And I'm like, no offense, I don't have time. I really don't. They do like a 4-hour broadcast where folks just jump in and talk. I've never watched one of their shows. And the one guy literally thought that I did. He's like, Reforge, is saying all the stuff we're saying. He's watching the show. And I was like, man, I really hate to to do that to you, but I've never watched. I just think we're on similar wavelengths of thought. I think we come from similar generations as well. I think me and Thrash are the same age. As the biggest Death Stranding fan who exists, I deserve an early preview? No. No, Wooly. You have to wait like everybody else. Death Stranding hits so much harder now that I'm a dad. For sure. For sure. Yeah, the menus can get a little... the menus can become a little bit much, Brandon. By the time you get to like the 10th or the 20th hour, you're just like bing, 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 bing. You're just bouncing around like it's nothing. They're a little redundant. But they kind of have to be because it's systems on top of systems on top of systems. So eventually you get very, very adept at navigating them. Did you see a fully built highway? One that fully encircles the mountains? No. I watched somebody play. It said, here's Death Stranding after 1,000 hours, and everything he was wearing was gold, and he was like jumping and like descending like with a jetpack and then rolling. Yeah, I know that there's like insane things that you can get to in that game. You know, insane. I'm never gonna do that. That's not how I engaged with it. The UI isn't that good. It's a bit much. Once you get the zip lines, you don't need roads. I didn't do zip lines. I billy goated with a motorcycle pretty much all the time. I got pretty good at it. Yeah, I got pretty good at it. Thank you guys for 300 likes. Thanks for a strong turnout today. Genuinely appreciate everybody being here. I'm going to check and see where everybody was coming from because, buddy, we shot out of a cannon at the start of this stream. That was very bizarre. The first... Man, we had almost 700 people here. Where did everybody come from? I think maybe YouTube put us on a runner or something. We were kind of humming there for a minute. It was all browse. Yeah, they must have been putting us on... front page, home page, something page. I don't know. I don't know what was going on. Let me set these things, though. So we don't want the members' content hitting your home pages, that's for sure. There we go. Algorithm heard you. Yeah, we were cooking, and now we're in a free fall. I don't know what happened. I honestly think it's that. I think it's that ad thing. I had the automatic ads running by mistake, and then I shut it off. And now we're just in an absolute free fall. I think YouTube takes you out of the good graces as soon as you're not doing it. Super Googly says, I secretly hope games will be 100 plus soon to weed out the people who keep complaining about poor optimization on their Switch or their 1060. I'm not connecting the logic there. What are you saying, Googly? No ads today. They ran during the intro. They ran during the intro, so I shut them off. Here, let's just do an experiment, right? Because we are quite literally in an absolute free fall. I don't know if the platform is buffering or having problems. There were some people complaining about buffering a little bit ago. Or I'm just gonna do an experiment. All right, we're gonna turn on the automated and we're just gonna see what happens. I just want to track it on the back end. I've never seen a free fall like this. Maybe it's because we're talking about Death Stranding in a Nintendo stream. That might be it. That could always be it. We might have squeezed everything we were going to squeeze out of Nintendo, but we are definitely hemorrhaging. I don't think I've ever seen us fall this fast. Not 10 minutes ago, we were at 560. We've lost 100 people. I don't know what's going on. That usually means there's like tech issues going on, but I don't know. And again, I sometimes it could be that we change subjects and then the AI is like, what are you doing? This is a Nintendo Direct. A Nintendo Switch 2 Direct stream and you're talking about another game. You're seeing 556? Yeah, I'm seeing 480 on the back end. Like we just absolutely fell. I don't know what happened. There's a point where 10-hour games aren't worth 80 plus. I left and came back because I haven't finished Death Stranding yet. Well, I'm not spoiling it, and the video that's going to hit tomorrow won't spoil it either. They're tired of all your bloviating. That's right. I'm curious what you guys think about this. They showed 10 exclusives. 5 of the games are Switch 2 exclusives, right? 5. Of those, like, what do you think the most compelling game is to buy a Nintendo Switch 2? Because for me, I can't pick. Like, it's really hard for me to pick. Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bananza, both those games look fabulous, but the Legend of Zelda Switch 2 edition games, that was a really big win for me. Because I really felt like I missed out on Tears of the Kingdom. Eugene says the Zelda upgrades for me. There was footage on Twitter of somebody playing it. I think Okami had the clip of somebody playing Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch 2, and it looked like it was running 60 FPS, so it wasn't even docked. They were just holding it, and it looked like 60. Zubair says, this looks so good visually. I'm impressed. Yeah, like, this is within the hemisphere of Astrobot. Like, I wouldn't say this is as graphically strong as Astrobot, but it's pretty dadgum close, which to me is impressive, given that it's a Switch game. Like, I don't expect that level of like, fidelity, shine, resolution, and performance from a Nintendo game. I just don't. That's never really been their thing. The most compelling thing I've seen in this entire thing was Breath of the Wild and the Tears of the Kingdom updates. Docked 4K Tears of the Kingdom gonna look insane. Are there any good hands-on previews out there? Did anybody get to play any of the Zelda games docked? Has anybody spoken about it? There's a lot of videos out there. There's a lot of videos coming out. I can already play GameCube on my OLED handheld at 3 times the resolution, 60. Yeah, I'm not really worried. Anytime they start going into the backwards compatible, you know, GameCube, Super Nintendo, and all that stuff, like, I would go back and play those games for the nostalgia, but I don't think I would, like, go back and roll credits on a bunch of GameCube games. Looks like some hitches in the frame rate. Is that your video? Dylan, there were definitely hitches and skips when they were playing Mario Kart. My personal opinion, in the 10 years that I've been streaming, I think it was their capture method or whatever they use to stream, like OBS. They looked like micro stutters to me in the broadcast. I don't think the game itself was hitching and skipping. I think it's a micro stutter in their capture or their actual broadcast. My biggest pushback to Nintendo Switch 2 is for a Switch game part. I think if you step into the premium device realm, you need to provide a premium game across all devices. You're allowed to disagree. You guys just got an ad. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I want to see if we turn it back on. If I turn that feature back on, does YouTube suddenly say, "Oh, hey, welcome back to our good graces"? I just want to see. Just run a bit of an experiment. I know it's irritating, but just hang tight. Here's my pushback, Corey. They're not positioning the Switch 2 like a premium console. They're positioning the Switch 2 like a handheld console hybrid with fun features like Joy-Cons that can work like a mouse and a camera. And do you see what I'm saying? Guys, while we're running this experiment, man, smash the like button and let's just see what happens. I'm not paying to be your lab rat. Switch 2 feels like a premium device to me. It's a premium Switch. It's not a premium like console to me. Does that make sense? Like it's I'm not going to be comparing it to the Pro. It's a premium Switch. It's not a premium console. I'm not like, "Oh man, I expect this to be at the level of a PS5 Pro or a Series X." No, it's a premium Switch. And I just think that comes with expectations because it's a handheld hybrid. A $5 super chat from Symbol the Rapper. With Alona with PS3 releasing at $600 in 2006, are you surprised consoles aren't coming out at $600 or $700 today as the norm? That might happen next time around. What's the C button everybody's hating on? It's just for chatting. You can just chat with people, voice and video chat while you're playing, or screen. You can screen share. It's not. It was probably the biggest disappointing part of the. It's probably the most disappointing part of the showcase. That kind of performance on a native handheld at that price is premium, in my opinion, says Eugene. Absolutely, and that low-end console's outpricing the premium consoles. So what do you think the PS6 will cost? I could see the PlayStation 6. I could see the PlayStation 6 costing... I can see the PlayStation 6 costing about $700, probably the same as the PS5 Pro. Maybe $600, I don't know. Maybe they'll do it for $600 and it'll drop, the Pro to $5. The Pro will drop to $5. The base will drop to, $350 or $4. And PS6 will be $600. Something, I don't know. Somewhere in that ballpark. Sure, I got an ad. That was fast. Yeah. I can't make heads or tails of what YouTube wants from us. I really, really can't. I've been a live streamer for 10 years, and jumping up to almost 700 viewers in 30 minutes and then plummeting like a rock for the next hour that's abnormal. That's something that the platform's doing. That's something that you guys are doing or that I'm doing. I've been streaming for a decade, and that is abnormal behavior. That's the platform doing something. So either there's buffering, skipping, or blips going on, and people just leave because they don't want to deal with it, or the platform's doing something. Back home so I can finish my point, says Hilly. My theory behind the price increases across the board from Nintendo makes sense in their position. They had massive issues meeting demand with the Switch 1. They will likely struggle to meet demand with the Switch 2. Although you said you don't agree, price increases reduce demand for nearly every product. Increases in price do reduce demand to varying degrees. There is, of course, other factors, but the most sensible business reason to increase price would be when you can't make enough for everyone, plus the bonus, you make more money. I wasn't making any moral judgments about it, but I think Nintendo want to reduce demand so they can meet it better. I don't have a sell forecast, Petrov. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Hilly. That, they could be saying, we're going to struggle to meet demand anyway. We're going to sell every unit that we make in the first 12 months. Why not raise the price? It'll trim down some of the demand. Consumers will be able to get them maybe slightly easier than they got the Switch 1. And then if the Switch 2, sales catch or surpass the Switch 1, I think they'll be totally happy with that. I don't think they're going to turn around and be like, oh man, we hurt demand so much that we're falling below projected sales, or we're not selling as much as the Switch 1. I think they're going to equal the Switch 1 or potentially rival it. Because I continue to think they have expanded their reach, right? I think that Nintendo expanded their reach with this Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. I do. I think they expanded their reach. I think they convinced people that skipped out on Switch 1 to get a Switch 2. I think they convinced people who largely stopped playing their Switch 1 to get a Switch 2. That original trailer, I said, I think Nintendo's growing up. I think they're attempting to appeal to a broader audience. They're attempting to appeal to people who, want a more serious gaming handheld. The fact that Eugene wants it and is considering this handheld a premium device for $450, that means they've expanded their reach significantly. And here's why I think raising price doesn't hurt demand in this case, Hilly. They've raised the price, and at the same time, I think they're appealing to a broader market. Ergo, demand won't be diminished, right? You're appealing to millions of more people across the globe who didn't pay much attention to Switch 1. So anybody they lose, they've maybe replaced. If you think of it in that way. Using your pizza steak analogy, people grade pizza based on its cheap price. If pizza costs as much as a steak, it would get more scrutiny. Yeah, but I don't think that's why I was using the analogy. I was using the analogy of buying the Nintendo Switch 2 and then judging the games against fidelity and performance on a Pro. There's not another word to use. That's stupid. Nobody does that. That would be like knowingly buying the Series S and then belly aching that it's not getting the performance of the Series X. You literally bought something that you knew was going to be not as performant as the higher end box. Buying a Nintendo Switch 2 is not, you're not buying a Pro. You're not buying an item that's promising that. Mark Cerny's getting into the details of the Pro and the advanced ray tracing and the not having to pick quality and performance mode and getting frames per second higher for the quality and the ray tracing modes, right? They're literally marketing the Pro on those promises. The Switch 2 is not doing that. So my analogy was, you would never go to a product or a business that's promising you X and then taking off points and criticizing because Y is, the letter Y isn't there. That's not what they're promising you. Minstry with 43 months in the VIP. AC Shadows on balance mode on a 120 hertz TV is a great experience with all the bells and whistles turned on. Thank you, Minstry. Bump of the line to 509. Use your own argument against that. Most casual gamers did not watch that showcase. When it's in the stores, the price is good for the console. But right beside it, games are 80 or 90, so no sale. I don't think so. No. I don't think so. Number one, you're saying games, plural. Okay? We don't know how many games are going to be priced like that. We do not know how many games are going to be priced like that. We know like Donkey Kong and we know Mario Kart. Not every game is going to be priced like that. We also know that you can get Mario Kart bundled. They know what they're doing. I will say, like, something we've got to consider here is they know what they're doing. You're going to see Mario Kart in the store for $90, but then you're going to see it bundled. A standalone Switch is $450, bundled is $500. You can get Mario Kart for $50. They know what they're doing. They're going to get so many people to buy those bundles. They're going to actually, inflate demand for the bundles by the sheer nature of the fact that, like, you can get the game cheaper if you just buy the bundle. But the Series S is cheaper. Okay, track with me here. You're talking about the casual gamer that didn't watch. We are talking about the casual gamer who didn't watch the Direct walking into a Best Buy or a Target. Do you honestly think if they're considering buying a Nintendo Switch 2 that they're considering a 5-year-old device called the Series S? Something that's been at the store for the last 5 years, an Xbox Series S. Well, no, this is also how you combat tariffs. More bundles and pack-ins to upsell the console or discount the game. Does the S stand up to the Switch 2? I don't think anybody who's entering the market is casual gamer who doesn't watch YouTube gamer. I don't think those people are going into the market and saying, well, I was going to buy a Switch 2, but there's this Xbox Series S that's been in the store for the last 5 years. Well, I'm going to buy that instead. I continue to think that I really do think this. I think that people really underestimate how strong Nintendo is in the market. I really do. Mario and Pokemon are all you need to convince so many people to just be like, give it to me, my kid wants it. Give it to me, I want it. Whatever that sentence structure is. Please tell them the tariffs have no correlation with this. Europe don't have those, and it's costing more there. Yeah, we're not seeing any direct evidence of that. People are giving Nintendo a pass because their positions are not consistent. That's all there is to it. They're marketing mouthpieces for Xbox, and they criticize things. They criticize PlayStation for things that Nintendo does in a more extreme way, and they're giving Nintendo a pass because they're not honest people. Like, generally, I just don't think they're honest people. Can the S play Mario? Yeah, exactly. Can you play Mario? Can you play that latest Pokemon game? No, you got to buy the Switch to get those. They know what they're doing. If you want the latest Mario Kart, you want the latest Metroid, you want the latest whatever, like, you are going to have to buy the Switch too. And people will do it. They will. They have, I truly mean this, Nintendo has two of the most recognizable IPs in existence. They have Mario and they have Pikachu. Those are two of the single most recognizable video game characters in history. In history. Like, it's not even really a question. I saw a middle-aged gamer guy say when he told his neighbors about the price of the Switch and the games, they laughed and said, my kids can live with the Switch 1. We'll see. We'll see. Birthdays come around. Christmas comes around. You gonna keep telling your kid that? You gonna keep telling your kid that? $450 for the Switch. Christmas comes around, you're gonna be like, yeah, no, we're not gonna. Come on, you freaking kidding me? It's Nintendo. It's Mario. I'm here to tell you, man. People really do. They underestimate Nintendo's draw in the market. You want to look at the Wii U and be like, well, yeah, but the Wii U. This is not a Wii U situation. The 450 for the Switch 2 is that's compelling, man. That is compelling. I don't know if they show. I think the next thing they show, I don't know if it's good. I think that no, they don't go to the tour next. Once they start showing the tour, it's kind of over. How? Oh wait, hang on. They got Zelda. I'm gonna skip ahead to Zelda. Here we go. All right. Oh my gosh. Hang on. I want to go back. I want to watch that animation of his hand coming down. That's what I wanted, dude. That res bump, that frame rate bump, dude. Finally having 60 FPS is a big thing. Do we know how much memory the 2 has? 256 gig. Oh, memory. Sorry. I don't know. I was thinking storage. Man, oh man. Is it 60? I can't really tell. Oh my gosh. Yes, homie. Okay. Look at the running animation on the left. Just watch the left. Look at his arms. Look at his hair and everything. Okay. Now, watch the running animation on the right. Watch the running animation on the right. Look at his arms. And now, halfway through, switch. Nope, looks the same. Oh my gosh. All right, halfway through, watch his arm and then look to the left and then look back and then look to the left. You don't see you don't see literally half of the frames are there. It looks so much better. All right, let me see if I can do this another way. Let me see if I can convince you another way. It's not going to work if we do frame by frame. It's not going to work. Oh, you're trolling, Siryu. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much smoother. Zero Connection with 16 months and a member light says, her Duskbloods will be multiplayer. Yeah, it's like an 8-player PvPvE game. Can it be played single player? I don't know. I have no idea. They've not spoken to that with any specificity. You can sort of see it. Hang on. I want to listen to this. I want to see if they're speaking. I want to see if they're actually speaking to frames per second.
Going to go ahead and warp in the wild. Thank you. In Breath of the Wild. How much clearer the resolution is. It's in the Nintendo Switch 2 edition.
Yes.
The detail on the floor,
apparent.
like you can see all the little lines in the design there.
It looks so good. And we're starting out at the very beginning of the game. Anyone who's played this before will obviously recognize this scene.
Iconic.
It is. And kind of emotional. We're coming up to the edge here. We're going to look out over the horizon.
It's a very iconic moment in Breath of the Wild. And already you can see the textures and how much crisper
the detail,
and cleaner
like the trees in the
looks.
horizon, you can see like there's more detail.
Yeah, you
and
can
even in the
see so
forest close
far.
up.
I mean, even looking at the definition on the cliff where Link is standing, it's
And the lighting as well.
breathtaking. Of the wild.
Good
Thank
one.
you.
You see it.
And here you can see even each individual raindrop.
Yeah,
has
the
its own
texture of
puddle
the rain.
here. It's really
And
crisp.
Link's adorable rosy cheeks because it's chilly up there.
It looks like it's maintaining 60
And in a
even
moment,
with the
we're going to
rain.
go
That's
ahead and
really,
warp,
really good.
into the Korok Forest.
And this is something, this is something that people will appreciate, especially if you're coming back to the game for a second time. The load times are quite a bit faster on the
Look at
Nintendo
that.
Switch
Yeah,
2
look
edition.
at-
Joker
Here's a
Quinn.
quick
Immediately
comparison
apparent.
side by side in real time.
Here, I'm going to get out of the way. Watch. You got to watch the little...
It's a race.
It's not
Who will win?
It's not close.
Yeah.
It's no competition.
Which Link will win?
Yeah. So more time slaying monsters and less time watching the loading screen, which is great.
It's just great.
That was
Yeah.
pretty significant.
Wow. Yeah, that is a substantial difference.
It really is.
And we've warped here into the woods, and this is a section of the game that has a lot going on. Like lots of things to animate, lots of Koroks popping in and out, the mist and the flies dancing in the sunbeams and everything. And the Nintendo Switch 2 handles it amazingly. It's super smooth.
Yeah,
Again, look at the difference in the
it
lighting,
really does
the
look good. I
textures.
can't believe how
frame
smooth it
rate
looks.
is extremely
With the
No,
fog, the
you're not gonna grab
foliage.
it? Okay. Maybe later.
Just going for a walk in the woods.
Okay. Just splashing around, looking for some Korok friends.
This is why...
It's just
This is why here they're not saying much about FPS. They're just kind of observing. This is why art style is so important. Like, this game at some level is very timeless. Now you see the difference majorly? Oh, yeah. It's sections here. It's sections like this where you're really going to notice it because there's so much going on. it just smooths everything over. It really, really does. It looks smoother, clearer, like the colors pop more, the lighting pops more. Yeah, it's 100% running at 60 on the left, and I don't think it's wavering. It seems very stable, especially for this area. There's a lot of lighting, a lot of shadows, a lot of foliage, a lot of movement, and it's maintaining 60. I haven't seen a single stutter yet. It seems very smooth. Here is where you would see it. They're doing the spin test. The one on the right, you can just see it. It's half the frames. It's wavering. I didn't see any. I really didn't. If there were any drops, they were very insignificant. Are the shadow maps on the left higher resolution? I don't know. Oh my. This is Tears. Tears of the Kingdom looks even better. I feel like that looks even better. I don't know why. I mean, a newer game maybe, so maybe they had more to play with. It could be a trick of the eye because it's full screen, maybe? Golly. Tears, even though some areas are improved, it does drop to 23 in some areas and abilities. Are you talking about on the Switch 1 or the Switch 2? Dropping all the way from 60 to 23, that doesn't seem like that would happen, given what they've just showed us a second ago. What we're checking out right now, guys, is Nintendo Switch 2 gameplay of Tears of the Kingdom, Switch 2 edition. We just saw some Breath of the Wild. Man, oh man, that's very, very good. There's so much going on there. What do you do when you do the hand? It probably causes a drop. Not to 23 though. I can't imagine. Oh, Switch 1. Yeah, I can't imagine this dropping into the 20s with what they're showing us. Oh, it's so smooth. It's so smooth, chat. It's so smooth. It was the big thing that I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was so rough. This is great. This is what I wanted out of this device. This is what I wanted out of this device. I really did. I was like, I want to be able to go play Tears and have it feel like a modern game. Breath of the Wild was ported entirely. I didn't see that drop at all. Maybe Tears of the Kingdom runs smoother than Breath of the Wild because it was built on Switch. Oh, Breath of the Wild was like a cross-gen title with the Wii U. Maybe there's just some things baked into the crust. Because this looks better. I wish they weren't doing the split screen right now. I wish we were just getting full screen. I'm there when the Switch 2 Pro drops. Stop it. I saw hitches in Breath of the Wild. I didn't see any here. The difficulty, though, Omar, with those hitches is those hitches could have been their capture method. Whenever you're doing a split screen of two different games and streaming to YouTube and you're watching through me, some of those hitches quite literally could have not been in-game. It's hard to tell. You're going to check when there's an OLED model? I wouldn't be surprised if there's an OLED model out next year. Coming today, according to insiders, stay tuned, the Oblivion remake. I think today has got to be one of the worst days they could announce an Oblivion remake. The news cycle is getting obliterated by Nintendo Switch 2 hands-on previews. Yeah, I'm with Eugene. I'm like never going to be... oh, man. Go full screen. He looks so good. He looks so good. What games are you going to go for first? Pokemon, Donkey Kong, Mario Kart? Well, Mario Kart's a launch title, so definitely Mario Kart. Donkey Kong's a month later. Mario Kart with my kiddos and my wife. Oh my gosh, we'll play the snot out of that, unlocking all the trophies and working through all of the courses. But yeah, I'll definitely be diving back into Tears of the Kingdom. Can you tell these games are 4K or not? I cannot. I don't know if they've spoken to it. I think today is perfect. The Xbox launch of South of Midnight's lukewarm. They need a hit. I think you'd save it then for like next week. Let South of Midnight do its thing. Let Nintendo do their thing, and then drop Oblivion next week. $5 super chat from a man, M's Odyssey. Kind of Funny Games said, some third-party games on the Switch 2 are running 720 upscaled 30. They said high-quality third-party games don't look good. Yeah, that's not surprising. Even Digital Foundry was like, yeah, Elden Ring's running like 1080 30. Their game's running 720 30. I like I said yesterday, I can't see a lot of people that care about performance, analysis getting this system to play third-party games. Like, if you care about resolution and frame rate, you're not buying a Switch 2 to play Cyberpunk and Elden Ring. You're not. I just don't think so. If you care about resolution and frame rate, you're buying this to finally play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. You're buying this for Mario Kart. You're buying this for Metroid or Donkey Kong or Kirby. Thank you for the Swift coffee order. Been loving it so far. And the note from your daughter was a nice touch. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed that. That's a great way to support the channel, guys, if you're coffee drinkers. That's you supporting a small business. That is not a sponsor. Reforge Roast is ours. And we have not had to raise our prices. If you're trying to buy coffee and, inflation or tariffs and all that, start making coffee prices go up. We have not raised our prices on coffee. I play Nintendo to play Nintendo games. That's what I'm saying, Rick James. 1080 30, they should be at Elden Ring to run 60 with upscaling, I would think. I don't know. Yo, Vengeance says, best coffee on the whole dang planet. Thank you, sir. Why is Expedition 33 on the Switch? Turn-based. Well, Caleb, we have it on very good authority that basically every single company wants to get on the Switch 2. I mean, they want to get on the Switch 2, boys. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to make an effort. If they're going to make an effort to get over there. Your coffee's made in America. Well, I will tell you this. We were informed by our roaster that future orders are going to be more expensive, so we'll have to make judgment calls there, obviously. And hopefully those price increases aren't permanent, That's kind of what we're hoping. Why on earth? There we go. If you guys haven't watched my upload yet, the tweet's doing really well on Twitter. So thank you everybody who's been engaging with it over there. Exclusives are important. It's a really, really quick video. It really, really is. It's only like 5 minutes. So we're just going to keep talking and hanging out and watching this gameplay. But I'm going to put the link to it in the chat. If you guys want to go give it some love and some likes. It's a really quick video. Exclusives matter, right? We're not leaving. We're not redirecting. We're not doing anything right now. But if you want to show some support to that video right now, you can. There's a link in chat. Go give it the old watch-a-rooney. Give it a like. Leave a comment. I might feature one of your comments in this live stream. So you guys should all go, jump on that video. Leave a comment. You can set it to like 1.5 and you'll be done with it in like 2.5 to 3 minutes. Save a Click Foundation, played on PS5 or Pro. Today, Digital Foundry, The Last of Us Part 2 reviewed on PC. It's a better port than Part 1, but impactful legacy issues remain and the game is far more taxing on CPU and GPU than it should be. Well, there you go. There you go. Just get a PlayStation 5 Pro, boys. Just get a Pro. get a Pro, boys. I really wish they would go full screen again. All right, well, at least he's running around. I asked a question earlier in the Q&A. I can't have it pop up because we're watching gameplay, but I'll answer your question, Pac-Man. You said, do you think Switch 1 games will run better on the Switch 2 or only games that have been specifically upgraded? Digital Foundry spoke to that. They said that games will, in general, see some level of a performance boost, but there are issues. With about 140 games right now, there are issues. So there are, obviously going to be issues that don't get resolved. Because developers are not necessarily going to want to go back and start messing, with 3 and 4 year old games because they're suddenly having issues on the Switch 2. But in general, yes, across the board, the games should be running better. Yeah, there's compatibility issues. Richard Ledbetter was confused. Like, one of the games that has compatibility issues was a cloud-based version of Hitman. And I'm just wondering if it's the controllers. If the new Joy-Cons on the Switch 2 are having some type of an issue with certain games. So, I don't know. It could be something like that. It could be something like that. Let's see if any of you guys left a comment on my Exclusives Matter video about the Nintendo Switch Direct. Let's go take a peek-see here. According to Switch 2 compatibility document provided by Nintendo, all Rockstar game titles work on the device. GTA Trilogy, LA Noire, Red Dead Redemption are backwards compatible day one. Well, well, well. There could be good reason for that. Read through some of the comments here on Exclusives Matter. I'll stick with PlayStation prices. Heck no. PS5 mainline games are $70 though. Not quite sure I understand the logic there. Great video, says Hickman. He says, I think exclusives are more important than ever with the way the current gaming is heading. The quality of games have been built for one system is so evident. I don't understand how some people can't see it. Fingers crossed. We could see Switch pre-orders. I agree. I 100% agree with you. Stop trying to break up a happy marriage because your company decided to take a different route. Hal says, to me, exclusives, the incentives that differentiate one platform from the competition. The multi-platform titles are just additions from the exclusives. Exactly. I don't understand why people think that you could like sell the Switch 2 on like what, like features and power? No, you got to sell it on games. I can't with these prices. Most games won't be 80. I don't think most of the games are going to be 80. For the price, I ain't willing to pay. $450 is a great price for what the device can do. Compare it to other handhelds at $450. Compare it to other handhelds at $450. You know? I'm sorry, but I can't afford to pay $80-$90 for games. I'm working full-time plus overtime just to pay my bills. And the country's about to go into a recession. Hopefully not. And I get it. Gotta save and wait or just skip. I get it. Was not impressed one bit. I was. The thing is, Nintendo games are still actually exclusive 40 years later, and their games are selling 30+ million. There is no PS5 or Xbox Series game that comes close to those numbers. Horizon Zero Dawn franchise sales. Horizon franchise hit 32.7 million. I mean, that's pretty good. So it is closer than you think. There are some PlayStation franchises that have crushed it. They really, really have. Like, if you want to talk about, like, individual games, like, the Mario Kart game has been on, like, how many, 66 plus million. God of War franchise, 66 million. Marvel's Spider-Man franchise sales, 33 million. Spider-Man franchise, 33 million. Halo's like 81 million. Yeah, like Mario Kart being at like 70 million and then like the Zelda games being at like 30 million. Like, yeah, I would expect that. Those are long-standing franchises. The only reason Xbox abandoned exclusives is because they will no longer have a console and they're competing with Steam will just lead them to failing again. They invested in publishing, so they will become a publisher. Yep. Their movement is not the movement of the industry, and Nintendo proves that. This is where the industry's going. Well, except the market leader in the industry is not going that way, so stop saying that. Fuzzy says, the market should only care about one thing, good games. However, these developers and publishers need to make that happen. Do it for forever. Agreed, Fuzzy. Agreed. The last two God of Wars outsold Tears. What if you combine them? I mean, that's kind of cheating, isn't it? Come on, you guys went full screen for like a couple seconds for photo mode. Something else about exclusives is that they will be the best measure of value to both the consumer and the company. We get directly to Nintendo if we like what they offer with our wallets. If Mario Kart sucks, there's less incentive to get a Switch 2, and the company will be forced to adjust. This is what we should want as customers. Yep, it is pro-consumer because it benefits the consumers who actually purchase. You know, the consumers who actually consume. Yeah, that's who it benefits. I was highly interested until I heard rumors of the price points it's planning to go with. If true, I'm going to wait. GTA 6 and Hades. A big backlog makes $80 price point a tough sell for sure. If you've got a full backlog, I get it. The $80 price point makes it a tough sell. Arguing exclusives are anti-consumer is like arguing that McDonald's is anti-consumer because you cannot buy a Big Mac at Burger King. Yep, every industry is driven by exclusivity. We invested in our stuff. Want our stuff? Come buy our stuff. Like, that's it. It's that simple. For me personally, exclusives don't mean much. I'm a Sony guy and I have been since 97, and no exclusive will change that. This is Amskin. Now, exclusives definitely move hardware. That's why I bought an Xbox at the beginning of the gen for Starfield. I hope exclusives never go away. Same. All right, here we go. He's using hand. Let's see if he maintains 60. All right. Looking good to me. Let's see if he moves around. Pan the camera, maybe. Oh, you. That looked pretty good to me. That didn't look like it had any issues. Obviously, he wasn't like panning the camera. But I didn't see any drops. I didn't see any like sluggish, like, oh my gosh, you're using the hand. It's a massive upgrade over what we had. Are people really concerned about this? No problem with exclusivity. I say F you to Square Enix, though, after their whole tour against exclusives and how their games need to go everywhere to succeed, only to have an exclusive with Nintendo. Money talks. You can have the most powerful hardware in the world, but in the end, none of it matters without the games. Yep. And recent PS exclusive ports to PC haven't been that great. Spider-Man 2, Rise of the Ronin, and now Tlu 2. Lono using Switch 2 for the anti-consumer argument is too easy, disingenuous. PlayStation has no chance to do what Nintendo has announced. Huh? Switch looks great and worth it. Do you now hate on Sony because they can't deliver like Nintendo? Nintendo can only do this because they have so many players ready to upgrade. PS4 sold 120 plus million. Switch 1 sold 150 million. And PS just hit a record MAU of 129 million. Sounds like you aren't looking at the data or the facts and just projecting wishful thinking onto PlayStation being weak like Xbox. That just sounds like you're projecting, like you want them to be weak in the market like Xbox. Sony is 100% in a strong position just like Nintendo. Like, you don't sell 120 million PlayStation 4s. You don't hit a record MAU of 129 million users in a month. You don't hit that and then be like, oh, yeah, but they're not as strong as Nintendo, though. Okay, well, Nintendo sold 150 million Switches. What's Nintendo's MAU record? What is it? What is it? What's MAU record for Nintendo? Because we know 150 million Switches sold. A lot of those are duplicates in the home, right? Switch Lite, OLEDs, okay? Meaning they're roughly in the same ballpark. If you sell 120 million PlayStation 4s and you sell 150 million Switches, and a lot of those Switches are OLEDs and lights, they're in the same ballpark. What's Nintendo's record MAU? Do you know what it is? Because the fact that PlayStation basically hit 130 MAU, 129 million, like they're in the same ballpark of strength. You just want them to be weak. Like, you want to project that onto them. Like, a guy on Twitter said the same thing. I'm like, I don't know what YouTuber you watched that's saying this, because you guys are saying the same thing, right? There's this weird, like, oh, Nintendo's so much stronger than PlayStation. I don't think you're paying attention to what's happening, mate. I don't think you are. When PlayStation gets to boast in 2023 that a third of the people on PS5 didn't have a PS4, and they get to boast that in their previous quarter, 40-something% of people who bought PS5s were new users, and then they hit a monthly active user record, that's not weakness in the market. They're in the same exact hemisphere of market strength with respect to consumers as Nintendo. You're not looking at the data. You're listening to bleed green fan fiction. You're literally listening to bleed green fan fiction. I think the Nintendo record for MAU is 92 million, but that's like a surface level browse. That's what I'm saying. If PlayStation hits 129 million MAUs, has Switch ever hit that? Have they? When will you turn off ads? I already did. You should not be getting automatic ads right now. I turned it off. You might get an ad when you pop in the stream, but that's a pre-roll. I can't stop that from happening. Like, I'm telling you, these guys, it's always from guys that bleed green. They want to make this claim that, like, now all of a sudden they're big-time Nintendo fans. And, like, yeah, Nintendo's strong. Nintendo's awesome. And PlayStation could never do this. PlayStation's weak. What the frick are you talking about? What do you mean? PlayStation has an extremely strong standing in the market with respect to console saturation, MAU, and new user acquisition. And you want to act like they're not in the same ballpark and hemisphere as Nintendo? They're right next to each other. Your team lost. Big time. Quit projecting that onto PlayStation. Does me watching every morning on the Switch YouTube app consider me an MAU? I have no idea. Yo, what's good, Alec Trevelyan? How are you, man? PS5 still has no games. There it is. Yeah, I'm glad that you believe that fan fiction. I am. Because if you're typing that, you deserve to believe that. You do. You deserve to believe something that's false. It's a self-inflicted and deserved form of ignorance. I'm glad that you think that. Stay wherever you are. It's deserved. Stay loyal and keep spending money and stay wherever you are. Because I'm sitting here thinking, that's fine. Stay there. Stay there. PlayStation's got no games. Okay, I'm glad that you believe that. It's a self-inflicted form of willful ignorance, and it's deserved. I'm glad that people do that to themselves. You deserve it. PlayStation looks like a saint now compared to Nintendo, and that scares me. Guys, I just realized something. Exclusives, what? Actually matter? They actually matter. That's right. I mean it. I mean it. If you believe the fan fiction that PlayStation has no games and that PlayStation down bad and that you deserve to believe those lies. You do. The facts are there. The stats are readily available to see that PlayStation has dominated and done incredibly well. They're getting new user acquisition despite the lies that you can't grow and the console market's stagnant. They're continuing to use exclusives in a winsome way. They're continuing to publish games in a smart way. And if you want to believe all that fan fiction, man, you go right ahead. I'm done trying to convince people. You're lost in the forest fighting a war that's over. It's been over for a while. Treehouse is back. Let's see what they're going to show this time. This looks like they might be done. It's just some guy center camera. I think they might be rapping. Yeah, I think they're rapping. Another comment here. $80 digital games and $90 physical games sounds incredibly anti-consumer to me. I won't be supporting Switch 2. It is just the price. It isn't anti or pro-consumer. Buy it or don't. That's it. Buy it or don't. Can't be. Wukong won Game of the Year. What else do you got? When are you publishing your graphic novel of fan fiction? When are you publishing it? I want to be first in line to buy it. Bragging about being number 2 is epic? What do you mean? What do you mean bragging about being number 2? So, if you worked in the sales department at a company and the number 1 spot guy was selling, he sold 150 million units and you sell 120 million and you're making a really good royalty percentage on those, you wouldn't be proud of that? You wouldn't be like, man, I made a killing, Nintendo number 1? I don't know. That's just really pathetic energy to be like, my team lost, so now I'm going to cheer for the team in number 1 and act like being in number 2 is somehow not a good position to be. Like if I make a percentage of every sale, I would be thrilled to be in the number 2 spot behind somebody at that level. I'd be thrilled. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine being down that bad that you somehow think third place, and then losing and kind of exiting the competition suddenly makes second place bad. I'm not buying a Nintendo. Numbers don't lie. But you're not saying anything. You aren't. What does Nintendo selling more consoles do for you? What does it do for you? I want you to explain that to me. Like, as a consumer who sounds like you didn't buy the Switch 1 and you're not buying the Switch 2, why do you care? Why are you placing some level of importance in their success? Like, I don't care how many Ford trucks were sold last year. I wouldn't go around bragging about the fact that they outsold some other brand. Like, that's really weird energy. Switch had a longer generation than the PS4? Yeah, it's a lower price point and a longer generation. That's true. I need you to explain it to me. I'm trying to understand you as a consumer. Why do you care as a consumer about a company that you are not even consuming? You talk like y'all number one? What do you mean y'all talk like y'all number one? What do you mean? I don't work for PlayStation. I was dispelling the notion that PlayStation's like down bad, they're weak in the market, they're failing, they have no games. See, I was combating that fan fiction, and what you're going to retreat to the Alamo that like, well, you're not number one. Well, that's not what we were talking about. That would be like saying, yeah, that guy's really slow, he's not really fast. And I'd be like, he got the silver medal at the Olympics. Yeah, but he's not number one, though. Oh, wow. What a great comeback. If we're dispelling the notion that he's slow or not fast by saying, well, he got a silver medal in the Olympics, like he's second place. Like, yeah, PlayStation's weak. PlayStation could never do that. What do you mean? They're doing incredibly well. They're doing great. Like, they've got a great lineup of games. They've got great publishing efforts. They've delivered a really, really great piece of technology in the Pro. They're getting new users. They hit a monthly active user record. You're like, yeah, but you're not number one, though. You didn't sell 150 million consoles. I don't understand. That's not what we were talking about. Second place is the first loser. I'm joking. Yeah. He just dislikes PlayStation. It's just weird to me. I just think it's weird energy. Like, I celebrate the Switch 2. I defended it. I'm excited about it. I'm like, dude, this is a good device. This looks awesome. $450 for this device is incredible. But I also really like my Pro, and I like the games coming to it. If you're not first, you're last. I mean, what you're trying to do is you're trying to do like some sort of equalizer, like the team that you cheered for completely lost, right? Come on. Yeah, where's that place them? Exactly. It's just weird energy. I cheer for both. Switch 2 killed it. Might actually get one. Like, I'm excited for Nintendo and I'm excited for PlayStation. They have bright futures. And not only that, this is my favorite part about this. Every single one of the bleed green guys that celebrates, cheers for, defends, and suddenly wants to become like very, very pro Nintendo, I love that. I really do. I love it. I want every bleed green, disingenuous pundit mouthpiece for Xbox. I want them celebrating Nintendo in the Switch 2. I do. Because it just shows that they're hypocrites and they're not honest. Because they're going to celebrate a company that's charging for upgrades of Zelda. They're celebrating a company that trotted out 10 exclusives. They're celebrating a company that had 40 third-party games in their Direct. Go for it. Celebrate Nintendo. Glaze them up. Talk about how great they are, because all it does is repudiate so much of the crap we've had to listen to from that side for the last 2 years. Do it. Celebrate Nintendo. Celebrate the Switch 2. Buy one. Talk about the sales. Talk about the profit. Talk about their success. I want you to do it. I want the clips on Twitter. I want the receipt pulls. It's glorious. It's glorious. It just proves what we've known about you all along. All those Xbox marketing mouthpieces, we knew this about you, and you're just going to confirm it because you're not going to be consistent. You're not. You're going to buy the Switch 2. You're going to love it. You're going to play that upgraded version of Zelda, and you're going to love it. It's great. I want them to switch to being Nintendo creators, so when they lie, Nintendo can come and get those channels. People may be upset with Nintendo, but when it comes out, everyone's gonna want it. Ain't gonna matter. They're gonna listen, Matthew. They're gonna prove rather clearly. They're gonna prove that everything they've been saying this gen is a bunch of BS, because they're going to prove exclusives matter, exclusives moves product, exclusive moves the device. It works. It works. They're going to prove it. None of them are going to stick to their guns. None of them are going to be consistent. If they are, I have a certain amount of respect for it, even though I think their positions are completely disingenuous and not represented in the market. And the whole, like, this is where the industry's going thing, I just think is just going to continue to look more and more silly. But, I mean, to any that stay consistent, at least they're consistent in their ridiculousness. But the people that won't be consistent, well, then anytime they say that stuff, they're not saying something they believe. They're stumping for Microsoft. They're running marketing talking points for Xbox. That's all they're doing. I don't know if this game pricing is going to last, as Zubair. I think we have to wait and see. Mario Kart may be the only game. And see, that's fine, Zuby. I think that's fine. Like, if they test the waters and it doesn't work and they back off, that's literally what they're supposed to do, and that's what we're supposed to do as the customer, right? If we respond negatively and purchasing demand goes down enough significantly for Mario Kart, then they will react accordingly, and that's the symbiotic nature between the customer and the company. That's what we're supposed to do. What if Switch 2 fails at sales and the upgrades are not purchased widely and those games don't hit projected targets? What then? Well, the first part of your question I find to be the most unlikely result. I don't think Switch 2 will fail at sales. I think the demand for the product is absurd. I think their market reach is larger than it used to be. I think it's going to appeal to more consumers. Okay. Upgrades. Let's talk about the upgrades. That is a potential sticking point for people, but I don't think that they care. I don't think they care. I don't think they're in the business of selling upgrades for very long. There's not going to be a ton of that. Eventually, that won't really be a mainstay or a main offer or, like, think about it. In 2 years, that's not going to be a primary interest of Nintendo anymore to be, like, selling you upgrades. So if the upgrades don't sell that well, they're probably like, who the frick cares? It was easy money. It was easy money. Production cost to upgrade the Zelda games and Kirby was probably minimal, and the money they make on it is probably just like all profit. So at that, a couple of years from now, they're not going to be in the business of selling upgrades. They're going to be in the business of selling Switch 2 games. And a 50 bomb from MASH decides to tie Rissick for the biggest bomb of the day and takes us to 564 on the week. What a monster. What an absolute monster. Any ideas? Resident Evil 2 3 Village on mobile? I don't know. Nintendo or scumbags, nothing more. A Japanese Switch 2 is region locked and costs $333. Why does it cost what? There are commercial reasons for that. The yen being weak and production costs. There's all kind of intangibles there that I can't even get into because I'm not educated enough. You call them scumbags because they're offering a region locked version for lower amount that might be subsidized by their own government. I don't frickin' know. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know enough to conclude and call them scumbags, for frick's sake. I like to note for the record, a new TV will not be at the end of the 60 FPS Zelda weapon degradation stream. Thank you, Sven. When you get the Switch 2, you need to hook it up the TV and play Zelda. And remember, Eugene taking one for the team and winding you up. It was gold. I will never forget that, Hilly. You guys have given me memories that I'll take to the grave. And that's certainly one of them. With Mario Kart, like Lono said earlier, most people will get the bundle to where it's not 80. It only takes 50, if that makes sense. Yeah. Only scummy thing is the gaming pricing, especially 8-year-old games like Breath of the Wild, MSRP $70. That's not scummy. It's not scummy to say, we have a game that we believe is still worth this much money. That's knowing your worth. And if people are still buying the game for that much money, I think they have their answer. After playing 2 hours of South of Midnight, I'm convinced that it has the sort of off-kilter energy that can define Xbox's 2025. Why are they saying that? What do they mean? We need to shift gears to that, by the way. Guys, if you haven't hit like yet today, do me a favor and hit that. We could easily right now get to 400 likes. Sony bad, Nintendo good. The PC media, the Xbox media is, yeah. I can't wait to get my hands. Good video, though. Thanks. I'm trying to reply. Facts Reforge. Exclusives still matter. Yep. Nintendo Switch 2 Direct was fire. It was so good. I'm excited for these titles like Donkey Kong. I was pumped as well. I really liked it. I thought it was a great Direct. Exclusives are bad, yet it's one of the main reasons I'm buying a Switch 2. Bingo. Yeah, it's not going to flop. Capitalism is scummy, but most people still want to benefit from it. I mean, I'm not getting into a capitalism discussion with you guys. We're not doing that. The best games I've ever played have been exclusives. Yep, same. Agreed. Exclusives matter. People are agreeing. I'm seriously considering the Mario bundle this holiday. Same. Trying to reply to you guys. Hoping that Duskbloods gets a PS5 port goes against your at-quality stance. Keep the same energy and be happy that it's developed only for the Switch 2. My stance is just a prediction. Based on From Software's popularity. Your failure to understand my position is on you. I don't. What do you mean? My position doesn't go against the at-quality stance. It doesn't. I merely made a prediction that given From Software's global reach, it's likely going to be a limited time exclusive. I'm not asking for it to be. I'm not hoping that it will be. I'm not even going to play the dadgum game. I'm not interested in it. I'm not. If Duskbloods lands on PS5 6 months later, I won't even be interested in it at all. It doesn't go against my at-quality stance. It doesn't. If it was made first for the Nintendo Switch 2 and then they port it later, that actually is part of my stance. And my at-quality stance fully supports... I can't frickin' type. Fully supports games being made for one system and ported later. Like why I support PS5 games going to PC. Sounds like you don't even know my position on that either. Yeah, it sounds like you watch my content on Twitter. You don't even understand my position. My at-quality position has always been the healthiest relationship is you build a game for one platform first, and then if you want to port it to other platforms later, that's fine. You get better results. Until recently, that's gone really well for PlayStation ports. You don't even understand my position that you're trying to get me in a gotcha on. It sounds like you watch my content on Twitter. Like that, my position on at quality is well intact. If I'm like, yeah, they could build it for Switch first and then bring it to other platforms later. You tend to get a better quality of game at that point. And I'm not even wishful about that. I'm not hopeful about that. I'm just making a prediction based on From Software's global reach that they're going to want the game to be on other platforms later. I know we sort of passed this discussion, but I was curious. I decided to look into it. So these are the top-selling video game franchises with at least 20 million in sales. I highlighted franchises that I'm aware of being mostly exclusives to a platform that still exists. 100 million in sales, Nintendo has 4, PlayStation has 0, Xbox has 0. 50 million in sales, Nintendo has 2, PlayStation has 2, Xbox has 1. 20 million plus sales, Nintendo has 3, PlayStation has 4, Xbox has 2. Yeah. I'm with you, and my position on it says MASH. Is this that with AI? The hope is that it'll severely decrease the delay window to a point where releasing on both becomes even more possible. Yeah, by the way, I owe you guys 10 because of his 50 bomb. Here's the 10 members that I owe you. Excuse me. Excuse me. JC left a comment. Thanks, bro. I don't think exclusives are anti-consumer. Every platform should be able to put out whatever game they want. Agree. I'm coming back home, boys. Nintendo for life, dude. Nintendo for life, man. Hoping that Nintendo video can kind of pull up. It didn't. We do those videos late in the evening, and then they don't do that well because that's not when a lot of you guys are. A lot of you are not on the platform at that point in time. All right, I need to schedule. I do want to check out South of Midnight with you guys, and I hope you stick around for it. I try to do these streams to help you make a decision, and our gameplay streams lately have done very, very well as VODs. Let me get it scheduled here. Well, we typically only play for about an hour. It gives people a pretty good sample of performance, settings, and things like that. Sadly, this was one of my more anticipated games this year, and it's not getting the greatest score. That doesn't mean I'm not going to like it, but it makes me a little hesitant and a little more apprehensive. Let me change that, actually. I have the time set wrong. Wait, can you now schedule streams for a specific time? Oh, you can. We didn't used to be able to do that. You had to schedule it on like the 15s. It's now letting me set it for like a specific time. So instead of 2:45, I set it for 2:40. That's weird. We did not used to be able to do that. All right, let me set up redirect. Okay. All right. Oh, man. Oh, let me make sure it's ready to go. Like there's no updates or anything. Okay. Wait, music, video, books. Wait. Where's the freaking game? It didn't install the game? Pre-install coming in 4 days. No. I need to install the premium upgrade that I paid for. If I install the base game, will it do that? Or do I have to install a specific version? Like, I paid for the premium upgrade, and I told it to install last night. It installed digital extras. That's not... Okay, let me go to the store. I swore I told it to install the premium edition that I paid for. All right, South. Okay, premium edition owned. Manage, you own this. Yeah, I can't. All it shows when I go to premium edition is digital extras. Like, let me get my capture card up here for you guys. So right here, South of Midnight Premium Upgrade Edition. Okay. Manage this. You own this. This is all I can install. So do I don't understand. Do I now just go to the normal version and install it? So do I just install this and will this work? Because I'm installing with game. We'll see. I thought I installed it last night. You pay for the premium edition upgrade. I feel like when I did this with Indiana Jones and Avowed, after I paid for the premium upgrade and it went to install, it just installed the game. So South of Midnight, I thought it was doing the same thing. It said, here's what you can install. I said, install it all, and then I just started playing AC Shadows on my PS5 Pro. The only difference is the digital extra. The game is the same. Okay. Okay. They just honored my key for South of Midnight, so we'll do a giveaway. Keymailer honored it. I can't believe it. I got approved for a key from an Xbox game. They declined my Indiana Jones PS5 one right away, like almost immediately. They approved me. I'm not kidding you. I just got the email 60 seconds ago. So we can do a giveaway in the next stream, and I'll give it to somebody because I don't need it, but I'll redeem it so then we can get credit for we'll get credit for the coverage. When you create content, please disclose both gifted by Xbox above the fold and no, I'm not going to do that because I'm not reselling it either. This key is for review purposes only and is not for resale or giveaways. Well, what the frick? I can't use it. I already bought the game. I'll just redeem the key because we get credit for it in the coverage on Keymailer. So I can't give it away according to the terms of conditions. But I paid for the dadgum game. Like, I'd love for them to see that, like, I'll cover your games and be fair. Like, quit believing the crap on Twitter. Why did you redeem it? Because I'll get credit for the coverage on Keymailer. I can tell people they sent me a code. I don't mind. That's fine. Can you refund your purchase? I don't think I can. The biggest complaints are with the combat. Oh, that's what I was looking forward to the most. Oh, the meme. Why did you redeem it? Why would you do that? That was so good. Why would you do this? Oh, that's funny. You can refund on Xbox within a certain amount of time. It's fine. It's fine. I'll listen. I'll add this. Gifted by Xbox above the fold. Here, let me add all this to the description. I don't care. They sent me a code. I don't care if I have to tell people that they sent me a code. And then I have to mark this as product placement. This stream contains paid promotion or product placement. That's fine. Our gameplay streams have done very well recently, so it's kind of like, you know, getting a code from Xbox, and, you know, I listen, I cover games fairly. I streamed Indiana Jones on Xbox. That was a good stream. I had good things to say. I was positive. I just said it's not a game for me. And you don't want to give me a code for PS5, that's fine. I'm not playing the game a second time. I would have if you would have sent me a code. But I'm not going to do it with my own money because I've already played it. And I already paid for it with my own money. Can you refund the digital game? I'm not bothered to buy the $10 that I spent to play early. I'm not. It's fine. It's fine. I spent $10. I spent $10 to play the game early. That's totally fine. I'm not. It's not a big deal. I'm not worried about it. I have Game Pass, so I only had to pay $10 to play it on Ultimate. It's not like I bought the game for $80 or $100 or something. So it'll be installed in like 6 minutes. I tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to stretch my legs, use the restroom, and all that before we get into gameplay. And then we'll head over to here. We'll head over to gameplay once this is done installing. I am going to hit ads because I am walking away. So appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, I'll be right back. All right. Okay. All right, we'll make sure and we'll feature the gameplay on the channel. It'll be done in about 3 minutes. I'll provide you guys with a link. You never hit ads? I hit ads when I walked away. Didn't I? I thought I did. Yeah, score went up a bit on meta, went down on open. Looks like it's a high 70s. If I can get into the vibe of the combat, combat's pretty iffy sometimes. Here's the problem with South of Midnight, all right? I'm just going to spell it out for you guys. Really, really simplistically here. My backlog is too full to play a mediocre game. Maddie was comparing South of Midnight to Kana. Seems he enjoyed Kana combat way more than South of Midnight. I kept saying that South of Midnight looked like a more mature Kana Bridge of Spirits. So I'm not too thrilled to hear that guys like Maddie and others are very tepid about it or disappointed about it. That's a bummer. I was looking forward to this one. It's a short game. My backlog's just too long though. Like even if it's 12 hours, that's 12 hours and I'm not saying the game's mediocre, but I may conclude that it's mediocre. I don't have time for that, man. I mean it. I don't have time to give 12 hours to a mediocre game right now. I'm trying to make my way through AC Shadows, and that's not going to be a quick ordeal. It's not. Doom the Dark Ages is next month. Too many good games to waste time on average games. That's what I'm saying. I got first Berserker Kazan. I never had high hopes of this game. I thought it looked really promising. I thought the art style was dope. I thought the vibe was dope. I was pumped. I'm sick of having to be like meh about Xbox games because then I get a bunch of stupid idiots that are like, yeah, he just hates it because it's Xbox. And it's like, yeah, you're right. I just faked anticipation for it and faked excitement for it. I was just faking the whole time. Jiminy Christmas. It's like, I want their games to do well. Like, I want Doom the Dark Ages to frickin' crush. It's like one of my most anticipated games this year. I gotta hear from these frickin' drool on themselves buffoons. Like, you can't have accurate feedback on a game if it's made by Xbox. You're not allowed to not like it. Surely if you don't like it, it's just because you're a pony. Yeah, I was faking it with Hellblade 2. Yeah, it was like my most anticipated game. I too like to waste my emotional energy being excited over something that doesn't deliver, said no one ever. It's getting review bombed because of Sweet Baby. I mean, it's not getting review bombed by the outlets. Are you going to play Days Gone? That's another one in my backlog. Yes, that's another one in my backlog. It says finishing things up. What are you doing? This happened before. It just gets stuck on finishing things up. It says it's ready to start. I've run into this problem before with my Series X. Like, I install a game and it just ends up hanging on that finishing up. This time, at least, it let me go in and play. I don't know what the frick's going on. Can we not do this? Why does the game start? The game shouldn't start until I tell it to start. I open the game. Don't do this. I can't stand when games do this. Let me start the game. I opened your game. That's not the same. Show me the menu so I can either change settings, change controls, and then I'll hit start when I'm ready to start. You got to cut. There's a whole cutscene playing now. I can't stand when games do this. Yours does that all the time? Yeah, I don't know. My Series X acts up. I don't know. Hopefully I'll get a bunch of, hate videos because of that. Oh, you said his Series X acts up sometimes. Nintendo Switch 2 has 10 times the graphics performance of the original, Nvidia says. Okay, menu narration off, subtitles on. No. You can turn letterboxing on. Dynamic range on audio. Okay. It's acting up because I don't play it very often. That's what it is. All right, graphics, motion blur off. Applying changes in progress. But I don't understand. There's not like a don't I get to choose between performance and quality? There's none of that. I just get what I get. I just get what I get. I don't pitch a fit. Camera shake off. Invert. Which stick do I look with? I'm like all of a sudden forgetting. Invert y-axis of the right stick. Stop motion effect off. Okay. You get what you get, and you don't pitch a fit. Okay. It's got a vibe. I love the music. All right. I'm gonna spam a link in chat. Who is camera shake for? Sadists. All right, guys. It's super helpful when we have strong turnout for gameplay. We only do it for about an hour. Right? We only do it for about an hour. So come with us. Right? Click the link in chat or ride the redirect. Okay? Thank you so much for checking out this video. This is going to be me diving in brand new to South of Midnight gameplay. I did get a code from Xbox. It was after I paid the $10 to play early, so I do appreciate them sending me that code. I got it through Keymailer, so thank you for doing that. We've not really gotten codes from Xbox before, so that's exciting. This was one of the games I was looking forward to, so if you're looking for South of Midnight gameplay on the Xbox Series S, I turned off motion blur, camera shake, and the stop motion effect. I turned off all those things, so without further ado, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to end the previous stream as well, and I'm going to redirect people over. We will play balanced. It doesn't have the greatest score on OpenCritic and Metacritic, which is a little concerning for me because this was one I was hoping was really good. I was worried that